everybody? Welcome back to the Project Manga Podcast, where we cover One Piece, My Hero, Black Clover, Mashle, Dr. Stone, and Jujutsu Kaisen week to week. Back this week covering Weekly Shonen Jump issue number 46. I'm your host, Eagle.
Nox.
And Mellow Yenis.
And as always, before we get started, we would ask that you take a look in that description box down below where you can find links to any and all of our individual social media accounts, such as Twitter, online, communities such as Discord. Whatever auto listening platform you usually consume podcasts on, you can find us there, as well as links to support the podcast, such as our Patreon or our online store. So, with all those words said, how you guys feel about this weekend jump? It's a pretty good one. No One Piece.
No One Piece. And everything else was super straightforward, but there's a bunch of bangers in here. So.
It felt really quick, super quick. Each chapter, I was looking at the time, streamed of my reaction after I was done. I was like, damn, this is crazy, because I read five chapters that without One Piece, and then Elusive Samurai and Undead Unluck as well in like an hour and 20 minutes. I'm like, what?
That's quick.
I feel like they usually go for about 2 hours.
Yeah, sometimes you'd be hitting like 2.5.
Yeah,
I feel like a lot of these chapters were high intensity, high action, but if you broke down the actual amount of fictional time passed, very short.
Sure.
Like this was that I feel like if you hit that movie part, it's the choreographed fight, it's 3 minutes and it's a big portion of the budget. Let's go. Very flashy but not super substantive. It's more like action. It's gonna transition into something to a larger chapters, I feel like. And
we're at super action heavy points in all of these stories too, so it's we're gonna see a lot of that right now.
I almost feel like a lot of the chapters have been syncing up in that way too, because
kind of
last week it was huge reveals. Okay, let's go next arc. It's all right. Now it's
they do be kind of syncing up setup chapters, action chapters, lore, big reveal chapters. They all kind of all
well, and I feel like they kind of all try to ramp up towards the end of the year because they have a lot of events and holidays and shit, and a big break, so they usually try and ramp up to a really climactic point towards the end of the year so they can end on a big reveal or a big event before they get the 2-week break, and then they also come back with a banger.
Man, the planning for that has got to be so intensive from a narrative standpoint, scripting and shit, holy shit.
Well, when you got editors up your ass trying to plan the shit as well, it makes it a little bit easier, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
But with all those words said, I guess we're rambling a little bit.
yeah.
But it's all good. It's a conversation. Chapter 162 of Jujutsu Kaisen, Tokyo Number 1 Colony Part 2, and here goes Gay fucking their chapter naming ability up again. They said in some kind of interview or post jump note that the authors put in the Shibuya incident messed up my ability to name chapters.
Oh, no way.
Because it was just Shibuya incident part.
He's I just ran out of names.
That's hilarious. We got to part 150 or some shit in Shibuya incident. Not really, but it was no.
It was 30 chapters.
That's so
30,
wrong.
Yeah, 30 or 40, I feel like.
Yeah, it was pretty
30
high.
chapters.
Yeah, 150.
He's my arc ran longer than most mangas debut run.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Oh
They're all named Part 1, Part 2, Part 3.
Holy shit.
But I don't know, as lame as some people might think this dude's technique is, I kind of, I don't know. I'm fond of any technique that kind of gives you the ability to fly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this one's, seems a little more applicable in combat than the jet hair chick, right? The jet hair is cool, a little cooler aesthetically, obviously, but combat applications, this one seems a little better. You can increase the density of the blades, make them harder, and then obviously mess with the size like that.
Yes.
That actually seems pretty dope. He had usually a couple times damn, he was about to slice his shit.
I started to really respect the dude's technique a little bit more on pages 6 and 7. When I actually saw the shit ripping through the corridor and just tearing shit apart, I was like, oh wait, okay, this is actually kind of nasty. I just remembered why I said part I just remembered why I said part 150. I was just rewatching old episodes, and you accidentally said Shibuya incident part 156 or some shit in the intro of an episode, and me, you, and Kiko and Nick just busted out laughing.
It's a false narrative.
No, I'm serious. Okay, sorry. Anyway, back to the
Please watch
chapter.
all
very well
and comment in the
It happened, but let's get back to the chapter. But nah, man. Yeah, we were clowning, bro. Like we were like, what the fuck is this? Like who's got the propeller hat in the Peanuts crew? Somebody in the Peanuts crew.
It's like Tweedledee, Tweedledum. Just like
yeah, some shit like that. Yeah, Dumb and Dumber I think has one too at like one point, but
so goofy. And I was just like, bro, I can't take this guy seriously.
Yeah. Until that page turned into 6 and 7, and I was like, oh shit, this
actually seemed really dangerous.
Yeah, he is very dangerous. But like again, we see Yuji just like calm, collected. Super calm. He's just another day at work. Like you see his face like in these panels just right away. Page like 1, top panel, middle panel on page 2, he's calm.
Yeah.
Bottom left on 3. You know what I'm saying?
He's chilling.
Like 4, he's a little shook, but then he's back in it. You know what I'm saying? He's like, okay, I checked these blades now. I feel him.
Yeah. He's really coming into his own. You know what I mean? These last couple of, well, I mean, ever since the Shibuya incident, obviously.
I mean, after that Mahito fight,
right.
He's really just like, okay, my emotions don't really have a place here. I can compartmentalize. He's learned how to compartmentalize after just how chaotic that was.
Right.
Well,
he's just like, after fighting at that speed, it's just like, you know.
Yeah. Not only that, but like he's mentally damaged. He's a different person after that Shibuya incident shit. And I feel like he never got any real closure with the Mahito shit because Mahito got like sucked up by Geto before his eyes. And he never really got to carry his vengeance through. Sure. If that makes sense. Like he beat his ass, right? And he had Mahito like on the run, like scared. But at the end of the day, he never really got to finish it, and he
definitely didn't get any closure.
He just watched Mahito like get sucked up, and then Geto was like, "My!" He released a big ass charge of his technique. Like, damn.
Yeah. Plus, he got like a lot of like really crazy reveal stuff for Yuji, and like a lot of like plot twisty like shit that like has affected his psyche, like
rattled him.
Following that and rattled him. But like ever since the like I now understand my role panel versus like Choso, we've been seeing like a hardening of Yuji's, you know, outlook. I want to say like he really thinks he understands exactly what he's supposed to do in these situations. And whenever he needs help with, you know, some kind of mode of thinking, he'll hit up Megumi or some other kind of like more intellectual character that's around. But as soon as he knows what he's supposed to do, he's all business now. You know what I mean? Like he just does the damn thing.
He's really acclimated to being a sorcerer in the Jujutsu world.
Right. And you can see it.
And I also feel like A, he didn't get closure, and B, he hasn't gotten any like emotional help, right? Because like his mentors are gone. Nanami is dead. Gojo is sealed. Like
his confidants are gone.
Like Nobara is still like, where the fuck is she at?
She's dead as far as we know.
Yeah,
I feel
she's MIA.
I feel like everybody's holding on to hope that like she's alive, but I feel like we're supposed to take it as maybe she died and then Gege, out of respect for the fans, just isn't going to show her. Like,
no, that's not respect. That's fuck no.
You want to see her like messed up corpse?
I don't want to see a messed up corpse, but some kind of confirmation either way would be incredible. Like, come on, man. Like, that's so vague, dude. Like, holy shit. Bro.
Honestly,
like,
I thought she might end up being like a Rika situation where she comes back as a curse.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into like Nobara like theory like to that degree. Like that'd be insane.
That's my thing, because like I was like, well, I feel like she just seemed like she died so. It seemed so confident to say she died, because like it was so brutal. Like I was like, I feel like she died. Like everything that like I observed points to death. I don't want that to be. I want there to be a level of plot armor. Even if they have to be justified.
There's two major points in her like current situation. One, the last time that we actually like saw her body was when Nita did the technique that like suspends her damage in place and says like, so like she was about to die, but I basically just locked her damage down to where it can't get worse. Hopefully we can get her somewhere and get her treated and everything will be cool. And then that's what gave us all the most hope, really. And then you get the Yuta and Megumi and Yuji conversation where Yuji's like, what's up with Nobara? And he just kind of like looks down and like looks sad and like shakes his head or some shit, implying that she's dead or whatever. But it's like, that's still too vague, you know what I mean? So even if that was the case, I don't think Gege would execute the confirmation of her death in that way. So like
Dude.
that's why I think she's still alive. Otherwise, like why
she
do
might
it
be
like
in a
that?
coma or something like that, based on like the amount of damage.
Yeah.
And then I could see like based off her like cursed ability to like transmit cursed energy over a distance.
Sure.
It'd be really funny if while in a coma she's like doing like a little Chucky type thing. So there's like a little chibi Nobara going running around with a hammer. That'd be hilarious.
Insane.
I'd love that.
I don't know if that fits in with like our understanding of the energy or the style, but like that would be ridiculous.
Because we've had like Mechamaru in that sense where he's projecting his stuff. So like I don't think
that's his actual technique though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like not an unusual method.
Right.
So I was like, maybe.
Definitely not impossible. You never know, but like I don't know how I feel about
that. I worry that she's dead. And if she's dead, she's a sorcerer. She probably has regrets, and then that's why I think she might become like a curse, like Rika or something.
I really just hope she's not dead. Oh my god!
But like, back to the chapter.
Yes.
This helicopter guy, he goes hard. He's tough. He's scary. But yeah, no. After the Mahito fight, like Yuji just isn't really phased by anything anymore.
Yep. It's like you gotta
go.
Like,
oh yeah. He's like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna hit the center.
Just calmly deduces every situation, it seems like, and proceeds as necessary.
I love the diagram on the bottom right panel of 8.
Yep.
Where it's like no matter how tough it is, the head remains its vital spot. So if I can hit him there, and it shows like, okay, don't try to fight him like this, but if he comes at you like this, punch him in the top of the fucking dome. And he came right at him in the perfect way. So that's cool to get that like alternate scenario of what could have been a problem for Yuji. But he just didn't have to experience that. I mean, he did actually kind of, because he was kind of in that spot on 4 when he does like the splits to evade.
When he was ducking,
yeah. So I think that's actually just him going, okay, I cannot fight him that way again. Like that's a little bit too risky. But he's coming at me straight on, so I'm about to just steal off his ass like straight on, you know. And then he hits him with this kick, this beautiful kick on 11. And like, you know, the panel afterwards is like showing him like bringing the leg down, that very common martial arts, you know, scene where a dude just gets his shit kicked in. Very Bruce Lee, exactly. I just love seeing that every time it's used. Sanji's got it a lot. Yeah.
I love how the copter guy, he's like, did you break your face? Looks like you're the loser of this fight. And he's got hit so hard that he's like missing teeth. He might have a concussion, which might add to the speech impediment. Like he got his head caved in a little bit.
Yeah, bro. Holy shit.
Oh man, he's like, no, my hand's fine. I'm good. I'm just a little scuffed up. It's, you know, whatever.
What a beast, bro. Holy shit. I love that. And then we got Buddy. He's like, yo, long time no see. You remember me? And I think he's just trying. I don't know if he legitimately like thinks that like him and Yuji have ever had an interaction before, or if he's just using, you know, we used to go to school, we were boys back in the day a little bit, to kind of try to throw Yuji off or try to get him to just be like, oh yeah, I think I remember you, or something like that, leading him into a false sense of security. I think he only knows Yuji because of his notoriety after Shibuya. So like I think that's kind of like what's going on, and he's just trying to be a little bitch about it. Maybe there's a little bit more to it. I don't know. But
I genuinely think he's like knows him not because of his notoriety in the Jujutsu world, but like he calls him the Tiger of West Junior High.
Oh yeah,
like,
he totally does
gives
say
him
that.
The middle school nickname, and he's just like, I didn't choose that name. Fuck that. I'm so embarrassed.
Man, I forgot about that. That's right. He totally does.
And
say
so
that
like
to him.
I'm glad that kind of confirms my guess. About him just being like an old classmate, but this goes further in the past than we thought. I do like that. Oh man, and the guy seems surprisingly calm too, which is like kind of keeps me suspicious of him. Which just deepens as the chapter goes. He's like, oh, he's suspicious. That makes sense.
So I think oh wait, so then we go to Remy. We go to Remy and Megumi again. And like, okay, so I'm wondering if, because remember how we were talking about the possibility that she could be trying to lure him into some kind of like technique based like spell or like binding vow or whatever the fuck we were talking about before, but like just wasn't able to meet the conditions or something. I'm wondering if like if it's like a 2-part system, because she says, will you be my knight? And then he literally says yes to that. And then ever since then, he keeps calling her you. And she's like, stop calling me you. And they're making a really big point to like keep bringing up the fact that he is not calling her by her name, and she's like upset about that. So like, what if like the second part of that condition is you have to call her by her name or something, and as soon as he calls her by her name, he's like fucked or something? Because like you could see it on like 14. Yeah, you know, he's like, hey, you're not a sorcerer from the past. And he's like, why do I seem frumpy? And she's like, stop calling me you. And she's like got a bead of sweat coming down as if she's like frustrated, like this motherfucker is really not saying my name. She thinks it. Yeah, or she thinks it, right? But she's like, she's really stressed out that he's not calling her by her name. And that could just be because she wants to be called by her name, like whatever. But like, I'm just like sitting here like squinting my eyes like, nah,
on page
bruh.
16 as well, he says, wait, you.
Yeah.
Tell me where you're going. And she's like, stop calling me you.
Yeah, they keep doing it.
Gets aggressive about it.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if like when he finally is like, yo, Remy, she's gonna be like, and then like some shit's about to be different, you know? So like, that's kind of like where I'm going with that, which I think would be insane. Otherwise, like she hasn't even like had to use her scorpion tail hair yet either, which is like another thing that I'm waiting to see from her character too.
Yeah. Like maybe by acknowledging her, it like helps her hair pierce like regular defenses, like standardized curse defenses.
Oh, sure.
So like, and like in folklore, names do have power, right? Like if you know a devil's name, you can command it, you know, that kind of thing. Like there's a lot of fantasy where if you know a wizard's name, like say Black Company by Glenn Cook, if you know a wizard's name, you can invoke it and cause them pain and like weaken them.
Rumpelstiltskin or whatever, doesn't that fit?
Yeah, exactly. Rumpelstiltskin. It's in there. Like names do have power.
Yeah, that's right. Wow.
So I think there's that. I feel like she might actually be a sorcerer from the past. A little bit.
You do?
Just like maybe it's just like the sweat bead's just like, hey, wait, why do you think I'm from the past? Oh shit, is he onto me? Like,
oh sure,
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just a touch.
Gotta throw the possibility out there.
Yeah, and then it's like spend time pondering. What was it? So stop thinking in terms of past and present sorcerers. It's like maybe. Like,
what page?
She's like, hey, I don't want
this again.
Page 15. Stop thinking about in terms of past and present sorcerers. And part of me is just like, is that a way of her trying to bury the issue?
Oh, sure. But it makes sense because there's logic there. It's like, dude, we've been playing this game for 12 days. Like, you got to stop looking at it as regular sorcerers would do this. Older sorcerers would do this. It's literal chaos now, and everyone's just being shitty. So, like, don't spend too much time thinking about who could be a past sorcerer and who might not be. Everyone is kind of behaving on a similar wavelength right now just because of the game. Yeah. So if she is being sneaky, then she's like telling like enough of the truth and going enough along with his logic to where she can like manage it, because like that's the best way to lie, is to incorporate logic and some truth in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if she's really
best
stringing him along,
incorporate some truth.
And if she really is stringing him along right now, then like that's such a huge feat for Remy, because Megumi is no slouch up here. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like so he is absolutely one of the sharpest tools in the shed. So like. That's pretty.
I do like the interaction. She's like, "Hey, what's to stop you from bumping off as soon as I do?" It's like, "But what if you die before we get there? Hey, you gotta protect me." It's like, "Yeah, but just in case."
And stop calling me you. Like that doesn't even fit there. Like what you wanted him to call? Or wait. Hold on. Did he say it?
Like I said, you've got to protect me.
Yeah.
And stop calling me you.
Yeah, but if you die before we get there, and then she's like, stop calling me you, it's like, you fits there. Like, but if Remy die before we get there, like, that doesn't even make sense. Like, she's really driving home
really
this you shit.
For it.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like that, like, she's yelling at him for not using her name in a sentence where it doesn't even make sense now. So, like, she's really trying to get this guy to say her name.
Well, was that why? I guess I took that as her referring to the panel up above where he says, wait, you.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, no, you're totally right. Sorry.
Tracks, but still.
That's super tracks, yeah.
It tracks, but it's still like, I feel like we're on to something.
I feel like we are onto something with this you shit. And like you said, it would be a bigger feat for her to deceive Megumi. Mm-hmm. And most of the people would be... I believe someone even said this in my reaction chat. Like, you know, Yuji is kind of we would all assume he's the easier one to deceive, and he kind of gets involved with the shittier side of things most times.
Right.
So everybody was like, oh yeah, he'll probably be the one that the traitor's with. But I think since it would be a bigger feat to fool Megumi here, and
Yeah.
you know we're kind of onto something with this you shit.
Yeah.
I think it's Remy.
Plus,
As
like,
much as I,
yeah,
as much as I don't want it to be Remy, because I like her a little more than this other guy.
yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty privileged, but you know.
yeah.
I see you raise the it could be them. I think it's both of them. I think they're both being deceitful.
Sure.
Because that would be funny.
Yeah.
Like I think it'd just be purely funny. Because they're both really suspicious. Like Remy's way more suspicious than Amai.
Yeah.
And then I still think Amai is pretty shifty too, because he's pretty calm and collected. He's like, oh, I'm just the gopher. I'd have been killed off anyway. I'm good. I just leave him. Don't worry about him. Like,
and he's clearly
let's get
very
going.
submissive to like oppression. You know what I mean? Like if you're like on his, like if you're stronger than him and you want him to do something, like is he really going to fight you on that? He's probably just going to take the side. You know, that means that his life is prolonged. You know, or his health is prolonged, you know what I mean?
More
so
willing
like
to betray people.
More willing to betray people, like depending on like what he thinks is best for his well-being, you know what I mean? So like if you're being, you know, if there is a, you know, if someone's got him in a situation where he can't really do anything, he's probably going to do whatever they say, you know what I mean? So, but I don't know about like Yuji. Intellectually, he's obviously not on par with Megumi, but I think that what they represent are like kind of I don't want to say two sides.
Logic and instinct?
Yeah, exactly. Like he's a lot more instinctual. So whereas Megumi will get to the bottom of your deceit and figure it out and then outplay you up here, Yuji will just cave your shit in at the first sign of suspect activity. You know what I mean?
Like,
so it's like
he's just like I didn't trust you from the beginning.
Yeah, it's like if you say something sus to Yuji, he's just gonna fucking jaw your shit or something, you know. But Megumi will be like, all right, I gotta figure out exactly how they're lying to me, exactly how to counterplay. You know, and he'll play along with you a little bit longer before fucking your shit up. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. I think either way, they're gonna all go to the same spot, and they'll probably. Yeah, you know, like, and this is clearly Higuruma at the end, right?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah. I think.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think that's the.
I thought
this
Higuruma was the judge guy, the lawyer.
No.
Oh my god, is it? No way.
I thought it was.
Hold on.
Yeah,
I think you might be right, actually. I just completely...
Because Higuruma was the lawyer.
It is! Oh my god, I feel so stupid. Okay, so this is a new character.
That's why I think it's actually wrong. Wow. Because they're like, Ikeburo and Shinjuku. One of our members of our Discord brought it up. I think Roar no Homo. He said he thinks that Higuruma is actually in Chiyoda, where a lot of the courthouses and stuff are.
Mm-hmm.
And so part of me thinks that both Remy and Amai are on the same kind of team, or at least network, and they work for this guy because of, I was thinking the little chips that he has on top of
these receipts. What's up with these receipts?
Receipts, yeah.
They seem like paperweights, but also at the same time they seem significant. Reminded I didn't see like the like writing on them, but they reminded me of this form of like Chinese chess system. And she said knight. So she said knight, will you be my knight? And I thought, oh hey, you know, there's this thing. And then there's an actual knight pawn in this Chinese version of chess. Very similar. And then also the kind of like circular ring kind of matches Amai's hat.
Oh wow! Okay,
because it's a hat with a circle on it and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I was like, oh, maybe it's that, maybe it's this, and maybe, you know, they're all in on it.
You definitely never know how the mangaka is going to use the imagery to tell a story before it's actually revealed in exposition. So like that's really cool to think about. I'm thinking of like why like this dude is just looking at a bunch of receipts though. Like,
yeah, I'm wondering the same thing. Like that definitely seems like some serial killer shit. So like goes along with why he would be trying to lead people here to put, you know, seemingly, you know, you would assume he's got ill intent. He's probably trying to kill you.
I mean, with like the clotheslines, with the paper clips, with like the other receipts and stuff, it gives off like huge like spider vibes in the middle of his web kind of thing, and it's like, oh, these debts are the flies trapped in my web, and once you owe me, I own you.
Or he's like what if he's like a business owner and his technique has to do with like
taxes,
keeping all his taxes and receipts in fucking line, bro. And these are death receipts from all the people he's killed.
Or maybe if you owe him money, then like he controls you, and these are all the receipts of people who like owe him money. Yeah, these are the tabs of people.
And these are all his little minions.
That's
exactly that's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah. He just seems like a guy that's like his power might be related to like racking up a tab with him, and then interest accrues, that kind of thing.
Damn, that's like crazy when you think of like Hikari, who's like all about money and like business and like gambling. It's like really easy to like get in debt when you like lose like at gambling and shit, you know what I mean? So it's like this is all starting to kind of feel like it's connecting, which is wild. Obviously we gotta wait for way more information from Gege, but like this is a cool conversation right now because it's like I had no idea what to think of. I clearly thought he was Higuruma. So I'm going into this conversation like, what is going on?
Me and Knox both look like ducks right now. Like literally, he thought it was here, and somebody was asking, like one of you was like, Knox was like, "This is Higuruma, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah, I was like, it's obviously this guy. You were like, hell yeah, bro.
With conviction, I'm like, yeah.
Oh, thank God Mello's here, because like if it was just me and you or something, we would have rode that shit into the sunset. Like, it's Higuruma, yeah.
And then Twitter just pops out of the bushes. Get him! It's an ambush.
Nah, comment sections would have tore us the fuck
Y'all are so whack.
Like, I'm unsubscribing. You're frauds.
Pistol, pa 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 pa. You don't even read.
Oh man, I'm like so thankful for this setting when discussing like manga and shit though, because it's like someone will say one thing and then like there's a chance that the other person will be like, wait though, and then it's like, okay, our credibility is like a little bit salvaged here.
I'm usually off base when it comes to One Piece, just straight up. I'm just like, what about this? And they're like, no, that was like maybe 3 years ago, dude.
Oh, sure, yeah. So you know, we supplement each other's shortcomings to some degree, which is nice.
Absolutely.
So is it one of these two places that the courthouses are?
No. The guy from our Discord, Roronoa, I think he said that the courthouses tend to be in Chiyoda, which would be that's in the other colony.
So Megumi's going to Shinjuku and Itadori's going to Ikeburo.
Yeah, in the wrong colony. That's my thinking. I think that'd be really fun.
Yeah, I was sitting here going like, I bet you they're gonna all end up at the same place, and it's like, no, they're gonna be in two completely different spots.
I think it's really interesting to get them all split up because like we know their teamwork is so good that like having and also I like that it's gonna be able to showcase their growth since that point.
Yeah, because they're just solo
they're
as
solo
fuck.
Power.
Yeah.
And I want to see how that works. I want to see how they work individually, like how their thought processes go forward. Like I'm really excited to see how Yuji just handles this very gray spectrum of morality that this kind of scenario will engender.
Yeah, sure.
As opposed to like
and it definitely raises
stuff.
Yeah, like what is Yuji going to do when he realizes that someone who is not directly attacking him and threatening his life is like on fuck shit? You know what I mean? Like obviously you think he'll just like knock him out or whatever, but like is it going to get to a point where it's like, okay, I cannot afford to be double crossed in these moments? Like this is all life or death, highest stakes we've probably had so far. So it's like if you're gonna be running around here on fuck shit like this, like should I just end this person? You know what I mean?
Snap the
like
weasel's neck.
Yeah, type shit, you know what I mean? Which will be like probably the next leg of, you know, or of the adventure for Yuji's moral development, you know what I mean?
Is this the slow descent from Yuji's madness?
Yeah, or and maybe not even madness, maybe just cold calculating, you know, utilitarianism, you know what I mean?
I mean,
like
isn't that a form of madness?
I guess.
Because, I mean, we like that time we talked about where the root word for android came from.
Yeah.
Right? That's a form of madness. Yeah. Where the guy is just like, oh yeah, I can't sleep because the kids are screaming. And they're like, because it bothers you? It's like, no, it's just annoying. And it's like, oh damn, like that level of coldness is a form of madness, like, to me.
If you guys didn't know, the android concept from Philip K. Dick came from Nazis. His time just reading Nazi journals, studying World War II, and he was like, holy shit, this is a human with no empathy. Android was born from that. So like that's really cool piece of history. But
oh man, I just feel like this character in the end at like 18, 19, with his like giant tattoo on the ground, he seems like a yakuza, right? Like he seems like those yakuza guys or Kinnaman men or something like that. They're Yakina men. They're basically loan sharks.
Yeah.
They're like the loan shark guys, right?
Yeah,
They're like
sure,
low-level gangsters. They loan shark people with like weird contracts and like insane percentages of stuff, and just own people's
super
lives.
high APRs and shit. Yeah.
Yeah, like those payday loans, but like
50%
more
interest and
thuggish.
shit.
Oh god, that's.
He just seems
evil.
like that kind of guy because like the super long hair. He's got that kind of like chin strap stuff going on, like the big tattoo.
Yeah.
Kind of cut, lean, mean, loan processing machine kind of guy. Like
the kanji saying like indomitable is really cool just as a tattoo, but I know that it has to like give us a hint as to like what the fuck he's going for entirely, maybe even all the way up to like how his curse technique operates, because if we're talking about, you know, debt repayment and, you know, forced servitude because of debt, then like indomitable, I don't know, indomitable wills is kind of like what comes to like mind, you know what I mean? And it's like you just like he's just like you can't outwill this person. You know what I mean? It's kind of,
it means like impossible to defeat or subdue.
Yeah,
And
like
so
peerless.
like what if it is a reference to the amount of debt that he can curse you with? It is an indomitable amount of debt that you cannot climb over, that you cannot pay off. And that's his whole methodology.
Yeah, then it would have to be like something to do with maybe APR. Then would be like a pretty. But then that's like totally Hakaware from Hunter x Hunter.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. It's like a little bit of Hakaware, and then like that Leal guy, where he could like, oh, you owe me a favor, and then he could borrow people's men abilities, that kind of thing.
Yeah, Hagya / Leol. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was thinking something like that, and then, like the most recent chapters with like the colony games and stuff have been giving me massive Hunter x Hunter vibes. So I was like, all right, I can see it coming. Like my brain is already in that mentality.
This shit is chock full of references.
That could be why we really haven't
yeah
seen any abilities from the scorpion haired chick. Or
their powers are locked
because they're trying to get their powers back.
Oh, yo.
Hey, that's really funny.
Oh,
I like
my
that.
God.
I like
that's
that a
like
lot.
really cool to think about. But then also that kind of like throws a monkey wrench in our idea of like, well, maybe not because if her curse technique is the hair. Well, like if her curse technique is the hair and she's trying to trap him in some kind of like extra spell outside of that, which you would assume would be a binding vow, even though binding vows haven't really operated on this level, you know, in the series before. It's just like so like head scratchy because it's like if her abilities are if her hair is the technique and that's locked away, so she's trying to do this knight Remy stuff, you know, like to force like some other kind of situation, then like that would make a lot of sense that her powers are locked by whatever debt she's in, you know, indentured to, you know, for this indomitable tattoo guy.
Like maybe she's borrowing a power from another person.
I just feel like there's just not enough information to like say too much. Yeah.
I mean, this kind of plays into the whole like theme of this colony game, right? Like you don't know enough about these things. When you look at everything with suspicion, you see threats everywhere, that kind of thing. So like I do like that this colony start has like really engendered that, because we're just like, oh, what if it's this, and it's like, am I just experiencing the paranoia that the characters would feel?
And I'm trying to wonder if like the circumstance itself, like being in the culling game, has any effect on like how cursed energy moves throughout the space of the barrier, you know what I mean? Or like how it operates, you know, because like what made me kind of think about it is like when they first walked through the barrier and they got separated, it's like that was something that wasn't included in the rules. Like it was just something that like, you know, was added as a, you know, thing in the game. like, but wasn't shared with the people.
Oh, like
you know
someone
what I
added
mean?
a rule. Like,
Maybe not even added a rule. I think it was
It's
literally
just
just
a
Geto
caveat.
like just Geto not telling you everything.
He's like, y'all aren't gonna come in here squatted up.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Try and run.
But I'm also not
actually
going to
said
tell
that.
you that you're going to be separated as soon as you come into the colony, because if it did say that, then Megumi and Yuji wouldn't have been confused. You know what I mean? Like when it happened, you know what I mean? So, which is like a really positive thing I want to say. Like whenever there is a added element that helps one side, that like, because like for an arc like the Culling game, when it's like these are the rules, this is how it works, and everyone's talking about that for chapters leading up to it, you want to feel like you have a really good understanding of what's going on before you go into the situation. That's true for us, and that's true for Yuji and Megumi. But then they walk into the colony and they're instantly separated. They're like, whoa, we didn't know this was a thing. How come we didn't know about this? And it's like when it's the antagonist that gets extra things out of nowhere, it feels good because it adds stakes. You don't want that on the opposite end. You don't want the protagonist to pull something out of their back pocket that helps them in a situation that was never established before, because then that's going to feel hand wavy. It's going to feel like a Deus Ex Machina. It's not positive. But like any kind of extra stakes given to the protagonist, any kind of extra hurdles or obstacles, makes it more, compelling, like instantly, because you're like, this is a new thing for them to overcome, which is totally fine. Buff the villains as much as you want, but like don't do that for the heroes. So like I appreciated that when we started the Culling game, but I'm kind of like rambling now. But anyway, going back to what I was saying originally about how there could be other not known information about the game that doesn't just affect what happens when you enter the colony, but also could potentially affect how cursed energy operates. But that would be weird, considering that this seems like very personalized cursed energy related discussions for the characters involved. So would the games would the game influencing cursed energy in any kind of way actually like work for someone individually inside of their own cursed techniques? I don't fucking know. That seems like it would be kind of weird, but I just thought I'd throw the idea out there anyway.
Are you guys familiar with the concept of goo, like goo?
Hit me with it.
It's been dropped in a couple mangas before that I've seen, but it's basically an old Chinese folklore thing as like an assassination myth, where they would take like centipedes and snakes and scorpions and spiders and all these poisonous things and then dump them in a jar, and then once it would basically kill each other inside this jar, and then the one thing would be the most poisonous creature.
They literally talk about that in Jujutsu Kaisen, don't they? Weren't we getting shit like that in the fucking like Maki arc? The Maki mini arc before he went on break? I swear to God they used that reference.
I think the last time I saw that was in Hunter x Hunter, with the Chimera Ant arc. A little bit.
I think her dad was talking about that with the cursed beast that he released her into.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, we got all these things down here and only the strongest emerge because they just freely,
devour all
feast
the weaker
upon each
ones.
other.
And then,
yeah. It's something that like Naraku used in like Inuyasha, I think.
Yeah, I think.
And it's used in a lot of series, and it's a really cool concept as kind of like a funneling of power. And I feel like that's kind of one of the reasons Kenjaku is doing the whole thing in the first place, is to elevate curse users. Like cursed power comes from what? Negative emotion?
Yeah.
Well, if you're in a game where you're going to kill each other and you're losing empathy for everyone around you and are suspicious of everyone around you, and given an arena where you can freely use your ability to hone your own combat ability, you're going to get better by default.
Right.
So I feel like this whole colony thing was meant to elevate that kind of stuff. Like the whole like petri dish thing, right? Like they're adding elements to this thing, and like this germ will evolve, this virus will evolve, this curse will evolve. They're trying to grow something in this petri dish.
Yeah. And we also know that Kenjaku is like actually trying to like find like the next stage of evolution or something along those lines, right? Based on his like because they always tied it back to like the conversation that Geto and Yuki had back in like Hidden Inventory about like there's two ways to kind of deal with this: either kill everyone that doesn't have cursed energy, or like you know, bring everyone to the point where they don't need cursed energy anymore. I don't know. It's been a while since
either everyone has cursed energy or no one does.
Yeah, something like that. You know what I mean? And then we were talking about the possibilities that Yuki's real intentions could be trying to upgrade everyone to positive energy instead of cursed energy. You know what I mean? And that like that's like the missing factor that Kenjaku like doesn't realize is a possibility. So he's trying to do this like goo technique to kind of like bring people up to that next pinnacle. You know what I mean? So that he can either take that body or whatever. You know what I mean? But it was a cool conversation that we had back in the day when the conversations were a lot more relevant. But
he's trying to bring all these cursed people, and by putting them in places where they will definitely die with regrets, he's trying to cultivate even stronger curses to add to his Uzumaki spiral.
Jesus Christ.
Like, I mean, the guy's efficient. He's not going to waste any parts.
Right.
So a little bit of both, A and B, maybe an unmentioned C. I don't know. The man's mastermind.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I think, I don't know.
I don't have
anything else for Jujutsu Kaisen.
I was just going to say, I think I'm good on Jujutsu this week. I think that we, like, squeezed blood out of a rock or whatever the fucking, like, the term is. I think I totally just butchered that, and it's not even close to that. But you know what I mean. I think we got enough out of the conversation based on like what the contents of the chapter was. So
yeah, I don't know what to expect. Amai is the shiftiest one in my opinion. But that's just
for
me.
sure.
Well, with that, I think we can go ahead and jump right into chapter 214 of Dr. Stone. Stone World's Earth Defense Force, and we get this beautiful color cover of the gang, you know, Zeno, Senku, Yuzuriha, Taiju, and the reliable Luna. Also Magma up top. Magma up top, yep.
Yeah. Is Magma like full beard right now?
No.
Nah, he's just got a funny looking jawline.
He's clean.
It's the it was just zoomed out, and then like his smile went into his hair that's like hanging
the
down.
Weird frowny face.
So it like it made me think that was the outline of like some kind of beard or something. But
Senku's chin seems a little off though, like
a
off,
little bit
off center a little bit, if you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I do see it now that you said.
And like
something.
you see the line like. On the right side of on our right, his left side of his face, you see the curvature in the chin line, and on the other side, it just seems less.
Yeah,
careful.
now that I zoom in, it's like not as, but like no, zoomed out when you said that, I was like, wait a minute, is his chin kind of off center? It's like information, like this is shit that just doesn't matter. But it's like it's Boichi, fam, like he can't miss no matter, even if he does.
I mean, it just seems not fully symmetrical.
Like for sure.
His chin is a little off.
Yeah, it does have like kind of like a lopsided look to it.
That's inconsequential. It's a cover.
Right. But yeah, man, this chapter was great as a follow up to the last one. This was so badass when they're just like, all right, step a couple feet back.
I love that Senku and Ryusui have like the distancing like figured out based on how fast the wave is moving, and that panel where it's like right in front of Senku's face is so fucking badass.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god,
just Loki gave me chills.
Yeah, it's like holy shit.
He's so confident.
Like, what happens if the tendrils touch you? Do you just get like a little bit of like petrification?
Nah, it probably doesn't do anything.
Yeah. Because the tendrils are definitely overlapping.
Like a visual. It's like a mirage a little bit. Like there's like a little visual flare, but like it's not quite the same.
Yeah. But like I said, you know, they pretty much just calmly put Gen and Yo back together and you know, revive him. Yo, little funny moment hit panel where he's like, "Yo, my hair, what the fuck, bro?"
Yeah.
They're like, "We got the important parts. What are you talking about?"
Your hair will grow back, brother.
Yeah.
Nope, he's staying like that forever.
Probably. Holy shit, that'd be funny as hell.
But yeah.
So does Gen seem kind of weird to you in this chapter?
Dude, yeah, and like this is one of my favorite things about Gen is that he's always shown as like so like sinister sometimes. And it's so well represented in his dialogue and the art that it literally makes you go like, is this dude on fuck shit? But like we know that it's at a point now to where these guys are just as trustable and just as trustworthy and as a part of the crew and as people that you don't need to worry about, just like the Straw Hat Pirates. You know what I mean? So like I never actually think that Gen is actually really on some sinister you know, sketchy shit, but they just do such a good job of showing him in that way that you kind of go like, why is Gen acting like this? I feel like it adds to the tension of like finding out exactly what his thought process is. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, why is he behaving this way? And then he's like, aha,
like page 10, he's just like where they're removing the battery, and he's behind them, like around the corner, just listening, and like
he's with Kaseki removing the battery. He's the one that says too risky, right? Better remove the battery for now.
No, it's the other guy.
He's with
Gen's behind the two of them.
You're talking about Ukyo.
Oh yeah, Ukyo is with Kaseki as he's removing the battery. But like this is just Gen's this is just the way they show Gen behaving. You know what I mean? Like whenever he's up to something and he has an idea that he hasn't like revealed yet, they always show him like on some other shit in this way until it's revealed what his thought process is, and then you find out like, oh, you just had like, you know, you just came to a conclusion and were just acting or looking sketchy. I don't know. But I feel like they always show him like this, you know, like whenever it's like that. Yeah. And then it always ends up being something that's just like not an actual problem. yeah.
Some funny ass panel of him.
Yeah.
He's just very crafty and stuff. And I was just like, I feel like I read a lot. So sometimes I get some plot lines mixed up every now and again, and part of me is just like, was there a traitor in the crew? Like, is Gen like but like,
not in
for a while there was vibes where it was like, can we trust Hyoga? But that was really it, you know.
Okay. And I was just like, part of me is just like, man, Gen seemed like ready to like trying to keep tabs everything. Like when Chelsea was just like, oh hey, this is a really good idea. It's a perfect crime. You're a true detective. And he's like, shh. Like trying to shush it up. He's like, hey, no, let's not talk about that. That's exactly what I did. Like, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think you're supposed to go like, what is he on really though? Like every time this happens.
Genuinely.
I think that's really him, like, because he's the one that says it's possible someone scheduled this shit, you know, like you guys were pointing out. So I think really from the beginning, he's been deducing this and like sitting here like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Which one of you motherfuckers? Because people came over from the, you know, the United States, Corn City.
Right.
So they even could have been like, you know, I don't know how long it took them to get there. Probably a few weeks. They could have been like 3 weeks, 20 meters. You know what I'm saying? As soon as we get here, we're going to lob this to them and fuck it, see what happens. Who we petrify. Hopefully it's fucking Senku and anybody else who knows how to make the petrification
Zeno wins
fluid.
or whatever.
Maybe it's a combination of like, you know, Riichiro, Inagaki, and Boichi trying to set an expectation that there is someone sketchy on the ship that orchestrated this, and that like Gen is almost trying to get to the bottom of it, and that's why he's moving so sketchy. But then also like Gen could be involved, and that's why he looks so sketchy. And then it all just
I don't know that Gen is involved.
No.
It would be smart of him though.
No, this definitely
would be smart of him though to petrify himself if he didn't want people to think he was involved or whatever.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Is like for the record, I definitely don't think this is a thing that anybody on the ship is being sketchy and shouldn't be trusted and is setting up anything. I think it's literally just like an artistic, you know, choice to just show Gen in this way to arouse suspicion and lead you into one of multiple different false senses of securities. One of them being, is there an actual traitor on the ship? A second one being, could it possibly be Gen involved? And, you know, like things like that. But it's really just comes down to like him just, I don't fucking know. That's just the way he is whenever he's on to something, whenever he's up to something, whenever he's got like a new way of thinking that no one else is expecting. He acts shady and sketchy in that way to maybe create an expectation.
I think it's also
show his sly nature.
Yeah, exactly. I'm having a really hard time putting it into words, but like it feels so right to me up here.
I think it's an artistic. I think it's an artistic choice to like convey the seriousness of what he's getting at. Right? He's like, from the beginning, he's kind of like, yo, implying more serious vibes, because I think he was kind of thinking along the lines of what he was saying later in the chapter from the beginning. Like, damn, did someone set this up?
Yeah.
Like, why?
And if so, and if someone did set it up, I need to like be, you know, in the cracks, like in the thin places, like listening to everybody and gathering information so that I can like actually, you know, form my opinion on the matter, you know, confidently, you know what I mean? So like then that's just the way Gen is shown when he's on some intel shit or something, you know what I mean? But yeah,
I don't know, like I don't know, it's just like I get it that it's probably a way to get Sly, but another part of me has like this weird like feeling that maybe Gen did this not as a way to be like, oh, he's on Y-Man's side, because he doesn't want Senku and the others to go on a one-way trip to space.
Cool, but like then Yo would definitely have to know that Gen did it, you know what I mean? Because he was literally right next to him. There's no way that Gen could whisper in a way that was effective to activate the Medusa, but not hearable or not able to be heard by Yo when they were in that close a proximity to each other as they closed the vacuum seal. You know what I mean? Like there's just no way. Like if he did activate the Medusa himself for whatever reason, Yo would have heard him do it. He was always within earshot of anything Gen would say, unless it like the Medusa doesn't have to hear you for whatever dumb reason that would be, and you literally just have to say the words. But like it's all a proximity thing. Like it doesn't make sense that he would be able to activate it without Yo knowing, unless they're literally both in on it. You know what I mean?
Well,
would have
it
to
might
be
be
the thing.
like no, it might be the thing that Chelsea says. Like it could have been a delayed, planned thing.
Right,
Because,
but
you know, we've had this montage where time has passed. There could have been a time where
oh
Gen
yeah, god damn
could
it.
have gotten a hold of it. Like this
I
is
forgot
we're
about the
only
delayed
showing
thing.
like specific scenes.
Yeah, that's right.
And
That's
and
right.
when she brings it up, he's like, "Oh, hey, yeah, you figured out how the trick I did it. I made sure that I was one of the people. I talked to Yo, drug it out so that we were the ones caught in it to avoid suspicion." When he's just like, "How'd this happen?" He's like, "Let's not before we." It's like, "Blame Yo, you're blameless." Which is true. Before we start to blame, here's the exact order of the sequences, and he takes control of the scenario and frames the events, and then he like keeps track. Is like, okay, they took out the battery, they're gonna do this, and then when they're like, oh hey, we're sending a satellite, he's like, surely not, and like Chelsea's super excited, and the others are like zoinked out, but like Gen is just gritting his teeth in like this not quite smile. Like he's not blown away like he normally is. He's like, oh no, we're still on track. Fuck.
But then I'm trying to think of like the motivations for this, because it's like we have to assume that they all subscribe to the idea that Y-Man could do another world-ending attack at like any time, and that's why they're all rushing to get to the moon to stop him. So if Gen just doesn't want to go to the moon, and that's why they're orchestrating this kind of thing, then that means that they're just literally willing themselves to be sitting ducks waiting for this Y-Man attack to come and literally end everything. Because either they're going to go to the moon and die, or they're going to not go to the moon and then Y-Man's going to repetrify the entire planet. So it's like why, unless he had more information than he's letting anybody know. You know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure that they covered this anyway when they said that Ukyo was the one that had the shit in the first place. Even though like Yo brought it from America, he was with Ukyo, and Ukyo had it on him, and Yo didn't. You know what I mean? So even if Gen and Yo were like trying to like work something out behind the scenes, that would also mean that Ukyo would have to be involved, I'm pretty sure. And it's like, that's just too many trustworthy people on fuck shit behind Senku and them's back. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. I honestly don't know. It's like really hard to think about this.
I mean, it could have been like another Medusa that got swapped out. Like, I don't know. Like, there's a lot of things that could have happened. Like, Gen's able to do sleight of hand and stuff.
Sure. If anybody is going to be shisty in this way that you're implying, it's gonna be Gen. And like, but at the same time, the question is just still why?
Why? I mean, like...
Which Riichiro can just give us any time.
He might just genuinely feel like, hey man, Senku, your knowledge and ability has brought us back to a level of civilization. I don't want you to throw your life away and end up on the moon and die there. Like, you could do so much more for everyone and, like, bring back society, civilization, period. We could grow without dealing with Y-Man.
Yeah. But then that would mean that they just don't believe that Y-Man could strike again at any time.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, like, it's like, okay, I don't want you to go to the moon and die because we're doing so good down here because of you. But then if we don't do anything, Y-Man can still beam us. So it's like the same exact outcome. But like, it doesn't make sense that if that's how they think it would go, that they wouldn't just let people go try anyway. Because it's like, no matter what, even if you don't want Senku to die on the moon, you really don't want the rest of the world to get repetrified again. You know what I mean? So I
track that, but like also I feel like it's logical the way you're framing it, but at the same time I feel like people make those kind of choices based on emotion.
Sure.
Where he's just like, he genuinely believes emotionally that Senku is throwing his life away.
Sure.
And he's like, this is how, like, you're so determined because you believe you're right. Nothing's gonna stop you.
Yeah.
That we have to stop you from doing this to yourself.
But Gen is a mentalist. Like, he's probably second best in the logic department next to Senku.
Yeah.
So like, it just doesn't make sense that Gen would have an emotional outburst like that in a way that would endanger the entire planet just because he doesn't want to see Senku get trapped on the moon. Like, that just doesn't fit with his character in my eyes. You know what I mean? So
that's fair.
I don't know, but like either way, like the idea is like sparking a really interesting conversation because there is evidence there. Exactly.
Put the seed in my head.
Exactly.
So,
like they are showing. Yeah, they are showing him in this way to create this kind of discourse or conversation or discussion or however you want to frame it. Like the visual storytelling and even the dialogue included in this chapter lends a lot to what you're saying, you know, to a certain degree.
Nice because it allows the level of uncertainty in an arc that has a very straightforward trajectory and has been like montaging through like months and months at high velocity. So like they're on a collision course to like the end. So I like that there is that level of uncertainty in there.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. That is like my favorite thing about like shonen nowadays is like how, you know, mangaka inside of their story based on the history of, you know, storytelling inside of this area of manga, you know, because I feel like I don't want to say a lot of manga nowadays are like losing, you know, the uncertainty factor, you know what I mean? And like, which uncertainty breeds tension and stakes and things like that, you know what I mean? So like, I love seeing that in contemporary shonen. Because like that's something that I felt like it was kind of like losing up until a certain point, until these newer gens started coming out and starting to try to like break the mold and deconstruct in different ways. So like seeing it in a story like Dr. Stone, where like for a lot of the series, the stakes come from their ability to invent things and what resources they need and whether or not they can get them rather than actual physical opposition. Like you have Stone Wars, Treasure Island, and you know Stanley, which are the three major arcs of the story basically, but there's a lot of fluff in between that got the blood pumping, like holy shit, are they going to be able to do this? How? Like there was a lot of uncertainty inside of the lead up to those things too, you know what I mean? So I love seeing that a story like Dr. Stone that's relatively straightforward, like you were saying, in its trajectory can still, you know, impose uncertainty and stakes and, you know, tension leading up to the things that you know are obvious about it, right? Like we know that Senku's going to beat Stanley. We know that Senku's going to beat Tsukasa. We knew that they were going to win Treasure Island, but the little mini subversions along the way were you know how Dr. Stone really shines in that department, in my opinion. But yeah, back to the chapter.
So I know we don't have One Piece this week, but do you like the One Piece reference on page 12? Perseus D Monkey.
I didn't even fucking notice that, to be honest with you. I didn't even see that. That's hilarious.
And I like that they turned the front of the ship into a Wukong, with like the prow being the big staff, and he's got the headband, eyes, the porthole. It's got everything.
Oh my god!
So it's hardcore Wukong, Monkey D. Luffy of references. I love it.
That's a great spot. That was probably obvious to like so many people, but like I didn't notice it, so I'm sitting here like, holy shit. But like, yes, dude, so cool that you pointed that out.
I mean, there's a lot going on in this this chapter.
But I mean, like Perseus D Monkey. Like, why didn't I read that? I'm an idiot. Holy shit!
It's the subtle things. I love it.
For sure. So they got Selenium. Keep going.
I also really like that to make Yo feel better about his fucked up hair, they got him a hat.
Oh my god, where?
On page 14, 14, the big spread, where he's standing in front of the Medusa and he's just like, seems so happy.
Oh, he does.
He's just like, ha ha. I used to be a police officer. I got my little nostalgic hat. Yeah.
That's
And
hilarious, bro.
I noticed on like Ryuse's hat, it's probably something that's been popped up a couple times, but when I looked at Yo's hat and then I looked at Ryuse's hat, I like that they've kind of added like the rocket and star being the like instead of the skull and crossbones. Then they're like, we're space pirates, kind of.
No,
like,
yes.
I like
wait.
the theming.
Where do you see Ryusu's hat?
Ryusu's, if you look at his hat, same page actually, 15, where he's sideways, underneath where they talk about security camera. He's like, we've just invented the live broadcast. Look at his hat. It's got a little crossed rockets and a star where the skull would be.
Oh man, yeah, I see it now. God, it took me way too long to find that.
And then, you know, I just noticed it because of the crossed rockets on Yo's hat. And I was like, did they give a police hat with skull and crossbones? No, those are rockets. And I'm like, okay, you know, they're really getting into the whole, because like, they always had the rocket and star theme, like with Ukyo's hat on page 10. They've had
even
that
the original Science
into
Kingdom
their
flag
maps.
was just like a rocket and star.
Yeah, they've always incorporated that theme, but I like that, like, now that they have a giant ship and they're all doing that, they've been like subtly like, I like that they're adding variation to the emblem.
Yeah, depending on the individual that's wearing the article of clothing. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I mean, they are in their fabrication age. You know, they have the ability to customize their clothes a lot more now.
So now I'm wondering, like, what it means for the design on Ukyo's hat, because it makes sense that the crossed rockets and the star would represent a skull and crossbones on the captain's hat of a fucking naval character. You know what I mean? But then Ukyo has a difference in the design on his own hat. I wonder if that's pertaining to his character in some kind of way related to sonar or echolocation or something like that. Maybe the explosions around the rocket are like things that he's picking up on with his sonar ability or something like that.
I was thinking that they were stars, and it's like the idea of triangulation.
Oh my God, Mello.
Because I don't know, man. Because like you know, you can use sonar and stuff to like
triangulation. There's 3 starbursts. Stop it. That's so good.
I don't know.
Yeah,
it's really
so then, what does it mean for Yo? Wait. What is on Yo? You can't even see it.
Looks kind of like a police badge.
It just looks like a police badge thing. Like he already had star shapes for like on his chest and his little shoulder pads that were always kind of like police badge vibes. So like he already had the stars and now he has the rockets too because he's all in on the rocket tube now. Like I don't know.
God damn, that's incredible.
Wow. But yeah, just crazy stuff. I'm glad that they came up with the satellite idea really badly because that kind of like we were talking, it's like, hey man, how are they gonna go rocket? Like they can't miss the first time.
Yeah, I personally never thought about it until this chapter. I was like, wait a minute. So yeah, that's the thing. The moon is big as fuck. Smart. How did they know where to go on the moon when they launched their rocket? And it's like Dr. Stone always gets me in that way where it's like, duh, this is what they got to think of.
The solution is so simple, and I'm like, am I stupid? I feel like I'm stupid.
Dr. Stone makes me feel stupid every single week. Every single week.
But yeah, it's going to be exciting to see, you know, what's up there on the moon in Dr. Stone, what's going on. Like, what if it's an entire AI society that Y-Man has built, and they're just like mining these diamonds to infinitely produce these Medusas, and he's already got like 1 billion of them built, and he's getting ready to drop that shit on them.
I thought, dude, that would be insane. You just have like the sea of iRobot, like robots, you know, like from, you know, like they're literally just like,
and then Y-Man is like the head AI. Like I'm going along with the theory that Y-Man is an AI.
Like Mr. House.
I'm like totally like 100% subscribed to that theory now, by the way. I don't know if I said that the last time that it was brought up when we had OG on the show, but like
join us.
That is like totally what I think is going on right now, because it really is the only thing that makes sense, unless it was like a generational thing, you know, where Y-Man like kept having kids, but it's like you're on the moon, so it's like
your gene pool's super limited.
Honestly, like I'm surprised that Senku hasn't like already said this at this point, because it's like, one, the information that Y-Man has been doing this for 3,700 years. 2, they're on the fucking moon, and like like the world didn't know that there was like life sustainability on the moon before the fucking the first petrification beam hit. So like if there was a way to keep people alive on the moon for 3,700 years, the world would have fucking known about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think it literally has to be a robot or AI of some kind, which then links back to like what fucking country sent this there. You know what I mean? So like that's like really major. But also like yeah.
I could understand why, because like
if it-
I mean, if you take like our current world, like we're all like, what do we do about the climate age? And like the solution was just like freeze everybody, let nature reclaim everything, save the planet. Like it's not maybe it's an AI that's like oh shoot, it's an old horror movie where there's an American robot that once it connects to the internet connects with a Russian robot and then believes
oh
that
my
humans
God.
are its own biggest weakness and decide,
Yes.
hey, we need to wage war against humanity to preserve humanity.
I totally know what you're talking about. I can't remember the name of it. I could easily do a Google search right now, but like this is totally my bag, and I've seen this movie and like I love this movie and I can't remember, but yes, they were like, yo, we can't figure out, like it's like a freedom versus security argument, right?
Yeah.
It's like how like is the world going to allow the concept of freedom to allow people to kill themselves because of it? No, because everybody wants to live. Why would the decisions of like people that don't really know how this is going on allow like themselves to destroy themselves just because they don't understand what they need to do to keep themselves safe? So we impose security, and then you have to ask the question, how secure
How far
will
is
you
too far?
how far is too far for security before you start feeling like it's better off without it and we should just kill ourselves with our freedom? So then they go, humans can't make decisions for themselves anymore. Let's build a fucking robot with like no empathy that's all just cold logic, and we'll find the right thing to do and make our decisions for us and just absolve government entirely and leave it up to an AI. Then that AI is like, hey, and links with the Russian one. Yes, and then it creates this, god damn it, nope, I have to search it.
Something we also have to factor into this speculation though is the fact that Wyman has Senku's voice.
I feel like it's an AI that absorbs information and then like used like the input it was given to reconfigure it and talk back to him.
Colossus, the Forbin Project.
Yes.
So
God fucking damn it.
I don't even think they've ever had a conversation, Senku and Wyman. I think have the transmissions gone both ways? Did they ever try and say something?
the first time was actually Wyman communicating with us, I think.
Yeah. Not even that, just like the transmission that he would send down. He would say the distance, the circumference of the Earth, and 1 second.
I mean,
remember it was the repeated transmission 1 second, like 12,760,000 fucking kilometers.
Yeah,
whatever.
I mean, at that point, had they run into a Medusa?
Yeah, this is after the Treasure Island.
So it's after they ran into Medusa.
Yeah.
Medusas are voice activated. Wyman is connected to the Medusas. It absorbs voices.
Oh shit.
So it would have had access to someone's voice. To Senku's voice. And so I just feel like it's like an AI, like a deep fake kind of thing where it absorbs information and then pumps it out based on what you gave it. Like a GPS.
Yeah.
Right? Like it uses that lady's voice because she volunteered her voice, that kind of thing.
Sure.
I don't know if we had done too much Medusa stuff, like, or
the first time they heard how much we had
seen Senku do Medusa shit specifically.
Yeah.
Up to that point where they heard Wyman's voice.
Yeah, and I'm rereading Dr. Stone now, and I'm just like not like I'm not past the point where like Wyman has like come yet. You know what I mean? So I probably would have a better answer if I was a little bit farther in my reread, but
no worries. We can always loop back another episode.
Right. I mean, like the first time that they heard from Wyman, it was his voice coming in, and they didn't say anything about how it sounded like Senku. And then this was after Treasure Island, and they got Medusas, and they were using Medusas or whatever. And then I can't remember exactly whatever, but then after the fact, they were like, "Holy shit, this sounds like Senku" or whatever.
Oh,
so, yeah.
Maybe it just used the last voice. It was like using it regularly. So like the original voice was like the person that pulled the trigger, the voice of the person that originally pulled the trigger. And then after a while, it's just like, oh, new input user, cool.
What if it's an AI that was sent up like as an experiment by NASA or whatever Japan's like aeronautical space company is?
Yeah.
That Byakuya had a hand in, and that's the reason why it has Senku's voice, because maybe they were like arbitrarily trying to decide like what voice to give it, or if they should give it a voice.
And because
he's like, I got
Byakuya's
this
like at
recording
work
of
all
my
the time.
son.
Yeah, like my
son
son loves
voice
rockets.
on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think
that's so cute.
That would just be a fucked up way to bring things full circle. Like, yeah, cherry on the top, where they find out Y-Man was an AI sent up to the moon, you know, by a crew and Byakuya, you know.
Yeah.
Oh man, what if it's just like it's by the people that funded Byakuya's research. And so they have all the tools, like it's like, you know, like the idea of like the New World Order, the Illuminati kind of thing, like we're gonna try to save the world, and so they invest in all these like aeronautic space tech stuff, and they're like, okay, yeah, we're gonna send out these people, and while this is going on behind their backs, we're gonna use their technology, their developments, and we're gonna send that stuff up too. Like, let's go, because like the amount of production and like just straight up making the Medusas would require an astronomical amount of wealth and people and manpower and machine power and like resources to do so. Yeah. I've always believed it's the Illuminati as the reason that like that, or some other parallel that would be the reason why the Stone Age happened, and I feel like it was for the preservation of the Earth.
Oh wow, while we're on the subject of like conspiracy theory stuff, like what if the first footage that we get from the satellite is just skeletons on the moon? You almost fucking spit your shit out. Because like that's totally
just skeletons going.
Yeah, that's like totally a conspiracy concept, is like there's skeletons on the moon or whatever, you know what I mean, for whatever reason that may be. So like they could be like pulling from that, because like I was literally in my reread, I saw like during the Treasure Island arc when they were like talking about making the drone, and how it was going to have like 2 levers on the left for like height and or drag and lift, and then 2 levers on the left for like, you know, pull and whatever the other one is for flight or whatever. And then they even made a reference to QWOP, which is like the running simulator, like the track and field running simulator where you control your
like Boston Dynamics.
Well, like it's literally just QWOP, and then QW controls your thighs, and then OP controls your calves, and then you have to like hit the buttons in a perfect combination to make your runner continue through the track, and it's like this really hard fucking game, or whatever. It was like a big Flash game back in the day, you know what I mean? And I just reread about that in the Treasure Island arc when they were making the drone. Yeah, I don't even remember why I brought that up, but yeah.
Oh man. Where do you think on the moon?
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember why I brought it up, because they do be pulling references like that from modern time. So yeah.
Where do you think like on the moon it actually is? Do you think it's going to be in the classic like dark side of the moon kind of thing, or it's going to be like facing the planet? I think it's going to be facing the planet, and if they're going to hide a bunch of like details on it, I think that if we used the color splash of this chapter, where they have like the little Senku rocket circling the moon, that might be the location of where the Y-Man base is. But that's just like, okay, am I reading too much into it? Like, I've gone full conspiracy mode. What if Gen's actually against them all? You know, I
was gonna make a joke about the blue area of the moon, which is like a Marvel concept inside of the comics, and it's like a small area of the moon where there's oxygen, and that's like where the Inhumans hang out. But like I just remembered that like you guys don't be reading comics like that. But yeah, blue area of the moon is my guess, jokingly. But yeah, I don't know. I think it would make more sense for it to be, I don't know, on the dark side of the moon. Just because, like, I know that they said that their telescope can't really see shit like that. Like, their strongest telescope, you know, can't really see shit like that.
But other countries would have noticed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know. No idea. But, like, this is, like, the most head-scratchy that Dr. Stone has been for me. But I'm, like, always scratching my head when it comes to Dr. Stone.
I'm absolutely confused. I'm like, how does, like Gen's trying to get to the bottom of the truth or covering it up? I can't tell anymore. I don't know. Like,
completely forgot about that part of the conversation. Yeah. Okay. God damn, just so many things going on right now, and it's
there's
like
so many things. Like, no wonder we missed like Perseus D Monkey earlier, and like
who's we? It was
like,
just me.
You know,
Thank you though. Thank you though.
I gave you an out.
Yeah, you did.
Just take it.
That's super funny.
But like art-wise, I really liked the glittering civilization below at the edge of 19.
Did you say that again? You kind of like cut out for a sec.
Page 19.
Yeah.
I really liked the like glittering like civilization, the lights of humanity, the electric lights like sparkling down below under like reveal Wyman's location. I'm like, I like that. It's always
you said on 19?
Yeah, page 19, bottom end. It's just like a little, for me, it's very picturesque, especially because of what it symbolizes within the series.
Sure. Absolutely. I didn't even notice the sparkling. I had to like zoom in to see it. Like it blends in so well with like the screen tones at that distance.
Oh yeah, and it's like also you can see it like on the lights of like 8 and 9, like page 9. They're like talking about you can see the lights on the boat
and the ship.
I was like, I was just like, that's cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially because it would be pitch ass fucking dark.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys think that on page 1415, the big splash where they like have the security feed of like the containment for the Medusa, doesn't it just kind of give you like huge Akira vibes?
Yes. Oh my god. It's like right before you said Akira popped into my head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. I love the art in this chapter, bro. I love this panel of like Senku on the bottom of 17. It's gonna tell us why man's location on the moon. Like that's just such a good panel to me. It was like so like aesthetic when I turned to it. I was like, fuck yeah, look at my guy. Look at the
look at he looks like a ninja basically.
Yeah.
Like the cloak, the fate, like blurred moon in the back. I was like, oh yeah, is this Oka Basilisk?
Oh shit, dude, Basilisk. I need to rewatch that soon. God, I love that series.
Yeah, they got all kinds of shit going on now.
You also get like the blood
televised
from
baseball
Itachi's
games,
assassination or massacre. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Who's Lee?
I don't know.
Where?
Because they have Xeno team and Lee team on the baseball players thing.
What page?
And I'm just like,
page
16. Top left panel, Lee team and Xeno team, and I don't know who Lee is. And I'm just like,
Connie Lee.
Like
Connie was an American astronaut aboard the International Space Station, ISS.
Huh.
That's just what I saw, like, when I,
So what if Xeno just named the teams after, like, the people that were part of his, like, science squad? And he's just like, this is the team.
Yeah,
and
Connie was the one with the pigtails and the brown hair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the hips. Hold on. All right, sorry. Let's get that. Everybody has hips in Dr. Stone. But yeah. Dragon TV. That was sick. I love that. 58th Docks Studio A.
I think that's a reference to Hollywood.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I think it's always funny how we get these like modern, super modern looking, like highly technological renditions of the technology we're about to make, and then it's going to be like a super
like macaroni art version.
Yeah, right. Stone world
mostly
version.
wood.
Yeah.
But like I don't know, they've been transitioning to like mostly metal stuff based on 15 and 14. Right. I think it's really funny when they're like Stone World TV station, everyone's like freaking out watching the TV, watching the game, and the game is literally outside their window because the ball comes through the window of the building.
Yeah, I just noticed that.
And they're like, why didn't you go to watch the game live?
Right.
It's like, too busy in a castle.
It's like, nah, we got TV now. We got to see this on TV. Fuck.
Right.
Like, this is brand new tech. Yeah, it is just funny. That's a great spot.
New TVs just dropped.
Yeah. I gotta start looking at the fucking art a lot closer in Dr. Stone because they fit so much inside of the space that they're allotted. You know what I mean? There's a lot of visual storytelling there. Not in the same vein as like Undead Unluck, where it's like, you know, or Chainsaw Man, where it's alluding to actual massive narrative points all the time. But there's just little quirky shit that they fit in the visual areas without, you know, too much exposition pointing to it that you kind of have to look for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love the little side stories, the jokes and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And we talked about it before. It's like when you have this big of a cast and everyone is like so relevant at any point in time, it's really cool to see them all kind of like interacting together and getting their little small little moments that stick in your head. And they always say just the right amount of things and always the right thing for their character. It's really impressive.
It adds a lot of character without even having to like touch on them a lot.
Right,
either.
or give
so,
them like hella screen time. Like you could literally fit like 7 character interactions and not even in a double spread, in a fucking single page, you know what I mean? Like just little panel here, little panel there, and then Taiju says some Taiju ass shit, Kaseki says some Kaseki ass shit, and then all the way down the line, and that's like all you need at this point, because we just get these characters so much because they've all gotten their appropriate screen time to like full effect earlier in the series, so you can really just squeeze it all into, you know, a page, and it's like, yep, that's Kaseki, yep, that's, you know, that's Chelsea, yep, that's Francois, and then keep it pushing. Yeah. Yeah, man, great chapter. Can't wait for the next one. I feel like until a lot of these major answers or major questions are answered, like every chapter is gonna be like, all right, next one, you know what I mean?
It's like I was like, I keep scratching, the itch is intensified.
Right. That's all I had for Dr. Stone this week, though.
Honestly, yeah.
Well, with that, I think we can go ahead and jump right into chapter 82 of Mashle, Mosh Burn Dead and Infancy. And this portion we get at the beginning of the chapter is really tight with the super Dragon Cane and the Undead Cane.
Yes.
I really like the Dragon Cane's magic. I wish we could see more of it. I want to see this dragon doing more.
You know, we gonna see a little bit more. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The way Dragon come down, he like chomped that buddy.
Yeah.
He went behind him. He said, "Mwah!" Slapped him with the tail.
Then hemmed him up. Said, "Ha!"
That was the hand that hemmed him up, the undead hand.
Nah, because if you go on page 3, he smacks him with the like he teleports behind him, and then the dragon's like, "Oh, word!" Beans him with the tail, and then the next panel is the tail grabbing him for the hand to come and crush him.
Oh, yeah. Nice. The alley-oop.
Yeah, this is tight. Like I love the beginning.
Smacks him and then shop.
Yeah, and then wraps him up, right? But this is cool because it shows the capabilities of some characters that have been built up for a while that we haven't really seen in real action yet. You know what I mean? So, but then it also sets the precedent for Domina, you know what I mean? And inside of their capabilities in comparison to that, you know what I mean? So it's good for representation of the characters we've been waiting to see something from, but then also does a lot for the stakes of Domina as an antagonistic force. So it was just an incredible exchange all around in this beginning part for me, and it's just like the choreography for it was just so cool, how fast everything was moving, and like the internal monologues of the Immortal Cane deducing exactly what was going on, getting acknowledged by Domina for deducing exactly how their magic kind of works. It did a lot in a really short amount of time. And like whenever things are shown at really high speeds like this from highly capable characters, that's always like really hype in a series. You get that a lot in Hunter x Hunter, you get that a lot in Jujutsu Kaisen, you get that a lot in a lot of series, you know what I mean? But whenever it's represented like this, it's always like, yeah, I love chapters like these, like real quick exchanges of power, you know what I mean, to like really show the margin of error and also just the level that these characters are at, you know what I mean?
I also feel like it's just more realistic because like fights in general
go fast. Yeah.
No, like I've like getting in a fist fight. I've never seen a fight that lasted more than like a minute.
Yeah,
maybe
max,
2.
Super
like,
max. Yeah.
Like only if they're all both drunk and they're like being terrible at it.
Or just professionals that fight for fucking 12 rounds with breaks in the middle, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So like street fights go like pretty quick usually, especially especially for the people involved, because like you get that fight feeling, you know what I mean? The adrenaline or the endorphins or whatever, you kind of like black out and everything seems to kind of like move really quick.
Focus on that, yeah.
Unless it's Hunter x Hunter and you're so good at fighting that time compresses and slows down while you're in the mix of action, which is also cool. I've never experienced that. I'm also not like a top tier martial artist, so who knows? And it's also not Hunter x Hunter in real life. But anyway,
what, fights aren't like that in real life?
Yeah,
shit,
this was just really cool, man. Like,
yeah. And I love like seeing the little backstory of, you know, Mash and Domina together.
Baby Mash is so fucking cute and funny. Oh my god.
Yeah. And, you know, it gives a little bit of depth to the hatred that Domina has for Mosh, you know, where at first I was kind of like, you know, does he really hate him this much just because like Daddy said so? But because
Right.
normally you'd think with a brother dynamic, he would have some apprehension and maybe be thinking like, okay, this dude's my brother. Could he really be that bad? You know,
Right.
like, but no, he's hated him since you know birth for whatever reason. Like, guess he thought Mash was annoying. You know,
He's just a lack magic, and like this is just another flex of the theme, you know.
it's weird. How could he tell that as a baby? You know, it's just
Right. How?
weird.
But at the
Well,
same
I
time,
mean-
it's like Mash is literally a fucking like level 99 carpenter at 5 months old.
Yeah.
So yeah. So like that kind of line of thinking kind of goes out the window when it comes to Mashle, because you literally just like never know when Komoto is going to say a character did this thing or can do this thing. It just leans into the comedy aspect of it or the gag aspect of it. But like I think it's cool how it's like playing into the theme of like, if you are blessed with hella magic, there's just that much more of an opportunity for you to feel entitled on a high horse and look down at everybody because you're that cold, you know what I mean? And it shows that that line of thinking can be instilled in a person as early as infancy. You know what I mean?
I
Like
mean, yeah, like
yeah.
this is Domina's childhood trauma, effectively, because like he's alone constantly. Like no adults can really reach him except for maybe the midwife, and like he destroys everything. He doesn't have any face markings either, and he develops face markings based off the drift patterns Mash left on page 17. No, take a look. Page 17 is where you see
16.
Domina's
16.
16. Yeah, page 16, where you see the little like spiraling marks on the ground where he did the drift to dodge the attacks.
And the panel
that,
right
like-
below that is the first
and-
time we see his lines.
Those are his lines. And then next page it says Domina's desires became warped and would only be satisfied on the day he rid himself of Mash Bernadette. So that was a developmental moment for him. He's like, you're the first thing I could not destroy.
Because you Tokyo drifted all of my fucking magic tendrils. And
Yep,
so
and-
my line design mimicked your drifting. Yo, wait a minute. No!
Childhood trauma. Childhood drama.
Dude, if that's a thing, oh my god. I
You
like
heard it here first, folks.
Yeah, for real. But like that's so like wow.
That's nutty.
If that's a thing,
I-
that's so crazy.
I mean, look at his face.
Yeah,
Look at
no,
his
it
face. He
definitely
hates
makes
that.
sense. It definitely makes sense. But like, wow, though, if like that is like a way that you're lying.
Because he just, as a baby, has raw power. And then
Sure.
after this moment, he sees the thing and he's like, how dare you still stand?
The way that I kind of like took his line design after reading this chapter is that like earlier in the exchange, the Immortal Kane is like, okay, this dude is slipping through all of our techniques and not being scathed in any way, even to his clothes. So he has to be shrouding himself in a cushion of raw magic power, but then also he has to focus on attack and defense individually. You know what I mean? So the way that I kind of took it was like the harmony of like yin and yang, almost like attack and defense,
I don't think you're
like kind
wrong.
of working together is just how I took it. In the
I
beginning.
think you're
But-
also accurate, but isn't that also what Mash did?
Yeah.
Mash also, like, untouched, unscathed, completely bypassed his magic. And so I think that, like,
Oh
that
my
moment where he
God.
saw that is just so imprinted on him. He's like, it's like, I want my parents' full attention. You're the only thing stopping me. And you're the only thing that's been able to stand in my way besides our father.
So then here's my question then. If he's this obsessed with destroying MASH for like since infancy, like why have none of these assassination attempts been on MASH? He's literally gone like from location to location, just killing people and doing all of these things in all of these different areas. Why would he never once throughout the entire series try to target MASH in this way until, you know, the fated moment where they meet each other in the Divine Visionary like tournament? You know what I mean? Like why has this not been, you know, a touched upon aspect of his motivations before now. And like, if he is going to go out of his way to try to like underhandedly assassinate people in the background, why would he never make a pass
Move
at
against
Mash?
Mash.
Yeah, move against Mash.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, it's just like a
Maybe
weird
his
information to
father
get from you right
ordered
now.
him not to.
Yeah, it could be something like that.
Mash has been in hiding almost his entire life. Like he shortly left at like 5 months and a week old.
Right.
Like disappeared.
Yeah.
Grew up. He lost track of them. His dad's like, and like, why is he attacking these people? And it looks to me like he's draining magic. So maybe he's been tasked with like, his father's like, hey, go drain magic from people. And so he's just doing what his dad wants.
Yeah.
But not like focusing on like what he wants, so to speak.
It's just crazy that they would add up, that point in the narration that like his entire goal and motivation is to get the validation that he wants from his father by taking out Mash, the only one who's actually been able to weave his attacks like entirely with no difficulty. You know what I mean? Like they're making a big deal to say like this dude really wants Mash gone, and Mash has been making a name for himself since he joined the academy. You know what I mean? So like I doubt that Domina has not heard of Mash long before the Divine Visionary tournament. You know what I mean? And I know that like they're kind of making a point to do the One Punch Man thing where like Mash's achievements are like kind of like glossed over, to support the people around him or whatever to some degree. But like still though, like this dude has got to be, in the thin places, hearing things, getting information he has to know about Mash, right? Like if he's able to get in and out of these situations the way that he is, and obviously it's just because you can just chalk it up to his overwhelming magic power, just destroying anyone who is potentially a witness to whatever he's doing. But like still, if you have that kind of freedom to go wherever you want and do whatever you want, despite who walks up on you and sees what you're doing, then he would have had plenty of opportunity to like learn about Mash before this tournament concept. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, we could totally
call it a plot device. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm ready to go. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I'm ready to go so far as to call it a plot hole, but because it could come back to Innocent Zero's orders. You know what I mean? Like Innocent Zero does want Mash's body. You know what I mean? Yeah. So if Domina is like hating on Mash that much, you could totally see Innocent Zero being like, yo, you could do whatever the fuck you want in this world because you're that strong, but like don't kill Mash Burn Dead. Like, I want that body, you know what I mean? Or something like that, So, but then that means if they're going to clash right now, Innocent Zero's probably coming back to make sure that Domina doesn't kill Mash accidentally or something. I don't know.
I mean,
that or he's like, it's time now. Go ahead and kill him. So I can
harvest the body. Yeah, harvest the body now.
Yeah.
Because I think it'd be really interesting is if he's like, oh yeah, no, like you think that you're safe because of our father? No. He says he's ready. And so I'm going to take your head and give father your body. Like that kind of thing. Like, that's the kind of vibe I get from that where that's going on. But yeah, I just feel like his power is so overwhelming that he could either only destroy or he can only defend, that kind of thing. And he's focused on that.
Right.
So I like that yin yang metaphor. It seems very fitting with his style.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I definitely think he's like draining someone's magic in the first page.
He for sure
is.
Like he for sure is like sucking some kind of life force,
feeding off their life force or magic power or whatever.
Yeah, something like that.
Probably to speed up the regeneration of Innocent Zero.
Oh boy, could be something like that. If it's linked to him like that, that'd be pretty major too. But yeah. Just waiting for Komoto to just give us the answers to things.
The Tokyo Drift was too much, though.
The Tokyo Drift was
cackled.
a lot.
I cackled when I saw that.
Yeah, I was
zigzagging baby crawls.
He's using top-tier driving techniques at just 5 months old. I was like, oh my god, Komoto, Jesus Christ. Like you're doing a lot here right now. Right. Like 5-month-old carpenter drifting techniques in the crawl movements. I mean, it all makes sense for Mash, but like, holy shit.
Man.
Hype as double spread on the last 2 pages. everybody coming together.
Yes.
It really showed off. You know the guy with whose tongue's always sticking out? I did not expect him to be that broad. Or big.
The Immortal Kane, right? Or wait, no, I'm sorry.
No, the guy with his tongue that's sticking out, like, I think his name was like Gabu or something like that. Or
yeah. Let me zoom in
or something
here.
like that.
Yeah, I remember.
He was in like 2 chapters
the dude
ago, and
who's
he's like,
as
"Oh,
wide
your
as
family."
2 different people.
Yeah, the one who's standing next to like the Doro Hidoro reference.
Yeah. Like
that's
he was
basically
just
what I
like,
just call that guy.
When he the one that clashed with the sound guy.
Yeah. Margaret Macaron.
Yeah. He clashed.
Yeah,
with
he's
Margaret.
Big as hell. I did not.
He's big as hell.
That.
I did not expect that. I was like, what? No way.
But he's stacked.
He's a
beefy boy.
Yes.
He's a beefy boy. I like that they're kind of like, now that they're not like, shown in that sort of like Power Rangers, everyone's somehow the same height, movie poster kind of like display. It's like, okay, this is what they look like normally. And then also the clown just kind of killed me. I was like, who the fuck is the clown?
Dude, I'm literally like looking at the panel right now. Like, who is this Jester's cap ass nigga? Like next to Joe. Yeah, like what is this? Like, is that a doll of Abdel's?
That's one of Abel's things. Yeah, that's one of
Abel's
dolls.
Yeah, Abel. I said Abdel.
I think it's one of Abel's dolls.
Yeah.
Straight up was like, no, I don't want to
cap ass.
Seriously.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, like, where did you come from, bro?
Is this an assassin? I don't know. Like, I was like, no, it's got to be Abel. Like, they're not reacting to it, and like, Abel would totally be the one of the guys like, hey, we want to do this entrance. We're gonna do the horse, and Abel's just like, no, that's stupid. But you're gonna keep asking, so I'll make you a doll. So you get what you want. You stop asking me.
Right.
Goddamn. Oh, man. Goofy.
Super straightforward chapter though. I don't know. It's just like more. I mean, obviously we got some background on Domina, and we got a great show of power from the Immortal and Dragon Canes, and that was really cool. But that was also just action straightforward in the beginning. There wasn't really too much to go. They basically explained everything that there was to talk about that scene in the scene itself, and that's really kind of the way that MASH has been going for a while. Earlier in Mashle reviews, we had so much theory crafting going on just because we just didn't have that much information about the world, and now the more the world is kind of like fleshed out and the more we understand about things, it's like there's just less and less of those conversations happening because everything is so blatant and like straightforward in Mashle. There isn't a whole bunch of at least that I've noticed, any kind of like nuanced visual storytelling or esoteric dialogue that like really kind of like makes you scratch your head and wonder about, what I mean. They just give you the information you need, but there is still a lot of mystery, what I mean. Like we talked about things about like the Innocent Zero and Domina's motivations and like why they could be behaving the way that they were, but other than that, I don't know. Like I don't really have too much else to bring to the conversation. I guess this week Grief Manor looks cool. Yeah, for sure. It
looks really cool. At the top, I thought for a second that those like tips of the gate were shark teeth because of big old chompy guy.
Yeah, sure.
And I was like, maybe that's a thing. It's like, no. I think that was just there to break up like the solid blacks.
Sure, that makes sense.
For art.
But you never know though, because they do have a very particular shape that does remind me of like arrowheads or shark teeth. Or
I was like, did they prep that in advance? Just like, psych, we're never gonna fight fair. That's our thing.
Yeah. Like, here's a question: like, you see these statues outside of the manor, and it's like, what does that represent? Archangels and like archdevils?
Yeah, definitely, because they believe. Don't they have like a belief that like magic is a god-given ability?
Right. But like we've been going into like Greco-Roman mythology. You know what I mean? For like a lot of the mythological like aspect or like the theology aspect of
they did introduce a church recently.
They did, and we do get crosses and shit. So there is like a Judeo-Christian like undertone, despite the fact that they're talking about Greek gods and shit. There is a
one of the schools, yeah,
there is a Christian element to it. So that's like
so I feel like it's probably affiliated with that particular school or sector kind of thing. They're like, oh hey, you're gonna have this like day of the final exam, you're from Valkus and you're from like Walberg, you know, we're the third party. We didn't make it, so we are going to be hosting the current location as a way to kind of have a neutral party.
The Immortal Kane's like line design is a literal cross.
Word? Really? Let me see.
Yeah.
Like it's an actual cross.
Ah!
Like, yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So you got shit like that. But that's what I was just thinking. Like, since you brought up the panel of the manor, I like zoomed in on it and I was like, okay, well, this is clearly an angel versus a devil, right? Like, you got the horns, the goblin nose, the ears, wings, and then the lance. And then obviously you have this, you know, bearded archangel dude with like, you know, the fucking
carrying a classical sword of
and
judgment.
the toga and the wings, you know what I mean? So yeah. Fire,
man. Yeah.
That's all I had for Mashle this week, though.
Yeah, I think that's all I had as well.
Yeah, I'm pretty much spent on it. Very straightforward chapter.
Yeah.
All right, then. Well, with that, I think we can go ahead and get right into chapter 309 of Black Clover, Blink, and Star Magic.
Star Magic.
We got Star Magic. But, first couple pages, I guess, Zeno, like, what the hell's going on, you know, Zenon. And then he gets blown through with some shit.
Yep.
And then we get this little brief explanation, which actually was kind of nice.
I love page 3.
Why at least.
Yeah, I like
why
page
at
3
least
a lot.
was getting his specific attribute of magic based on why his what his parents had.
Yes.
And and then we also get Zenon like realizing like you're fucking Spade royalty.
Yes.
Which adds to like his fire a little bit, which it is nice.
It's really cool.
Nice
you got stellar parents, you're going to have stellar magic. I really like the diagrams and the representation of like Lois and CL kind of representing, the king and queen playing cards a little bit. You know what I mean? Like inside of a deck of cards or whatever. At least that's how I kind of took it. You know what I mean? So like that's cool. The imagery is fire for that. And like Xenon going like, oh shit, if you got magic like this, then that means, so like that realization was really cool and it was really hype and like I like that.
The names were kind of interesting, the meanings. So like Lois itself, it translates to renowned warrior, and Seal or Shiel is French. It translates to heavenly. So like it makes sense that they have heavenly bodies,
up above
celestial bodies, that kind of thing. I mean, they've used like star imagery for like celestial body imagery for royalty for a long time. Some of the names were kind of confusing because like I never seen them before, but then that's just new powers that happens. I do like that there's like, oh yeah, sun, moon, and stars. Let's go.
Yeah, makes sense. Feels good in that way. I just wish, I don't know, man. Like as cool as this chapter is, art is obviously there in all the ways that it needs to be. Like this is a beautiful chapter. The art is delicious throughout, especially on this double page spread on 10 and 11 with the core tile Hasta or Hasta or whatever. Like all of this shit is cool. You know what I mean? But like whenever a situation arises like this in Black Clover where it's just like new spells, here you go. Even if like they were alluded to in like one way or another, I just wish that there was just a little bit more in the power system regarding spells in the book. Like I wish that there was a scene. And obviously remind me if I'm just forgetting that there is an actual scene like this, but like I just want like a scene outside of combat where someone has their book open and they're just looking at their spells and they're going like, okay, so like these 4 spells over here take up the most mana. These are like my ults, my ultimate techniques. I gotta like spare those. These spells over here don't take up as much mana. I can use these about 4 or 5 times a day if I need to. Like literally just like someone just looking at and just reading their book and just like, verbalizing what it means, like studying it and verbalizing like what it means like to them. Because like besides Magna and Zora, like I don't think I remember a time in Black Clover where anyone was actually sitting down with a spell and going like, how am I going to do this? Like how can I train myself? Like show them trying the spell and failing or something. You know what I mean? Like something other than
spells.
Something other than just like the spell is in the book now, I can just conjure it and manifest it at like whatever potency that I need for the moment. It just feels so this chapter feels so like spectacle over depth for me, you know what I mean? And like I just don't like feeling that inside of a story with 310 chapters. You know what I mean? It feels like really hand wavy, even if it was alluded to earlier in the series. Like this level of proficiency, even if it was always in him, you know what I mean? He was always meant to have this magic, whatever the fuck you want to say, like whatever. But like, I don't know. It just feels a little bit too shallow for me personally.
Yeah, I mean, I totally get that because like it's very much like the fallacy of a power manga. Like if they showed studying, if they showed people racking their minds trying to understand their own magics, because like who actually knows themselves? Like hey, knowing oneself takes a lot of time and effort. So like part of me feels like that should be reflected in the magic. I totally agree with you.
I just feel like there should have been a scene like that already in the story, like where someone is literally just looking at their book and going like, okay, I don't understand what the fuck these spells are over here, even if they're in the grimoire. And if you want to say the story is letting us know, like, if you have the spell in the grimoire, you have access to it, like, cool, whatever, you know what I mean? But like injecting a scene where someone is confused about something, or maybe like contemplating the strategy of how to use spells in tandem with each other, depending on what they're looking at in their book. Like, I don't fucking know, dude, but like, give it a little bit more depth than just the spells in the book. I got it. Here you go. Let's use it.
Even like a little panel of their like them like their eyes widening as like the sudden realization, like they have been gifted knowledge.
Something.
It is now in their head. That kind of thing. That would be really interesting because like that would be really. It would add layers and like a lot of depth to the power system, and I thought it was interesting that they chose star magic specifically for Yuno because Asta's name literally means star in Greek.
What?
So like there's a parallel there, hard parallel. Yeah, Asta. It means star or star-like. Because
that's tight.
Yeah. Because of like ad astra cruentus, to the stars and blood, was a line in a book that I liked.
Wait, so Greek baby name for Asta, star. Latin baby name for Asta, holy. Norse baby name for Asta, tree.
Mm-hmm. And
that's fucking cool.
He grows like a tree.
His name has massive significance in any like
any area of the series. Well, not any not just multiple cultures, but like multiple areas of the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and it ties in.
That's really
like,
cool.
There's a little subtle stuff to it, but like that's why I was like so kind of stoked to see get star power. I was like, oh yay, they're the little buddies, they're rivals now.
Tabata getting a little more credit for that one. Damn.
Hey, and I'm looking at like the 10 and 11 spread quartile. Hasta, Hasta. I didn't really know how to say that, but like that, like when I first saw it, I obviously was just like, ooh, I see the word Asta in there. So like, what does that mean? But then I'm also thinking of like Final Fantasy, Haste, Hastera, Hastega, or whatever. I don't fucking know like what the progression of it is at this point. It's been a while. I don't even think
they're actually based off constellations.
Yeah, I don't think even actually now that I think about Final Fantasy, does Haste have multiple levels like Fire, Fyra, and Fyraga? I don't think it does. Yeah. It's
one of the few that doesn't.
I think it's just Haste maybe.
Because Slow doesn't have it either.
No, I think Slow goes into Sloga.
Oh, then maybe Haste does. I don't know.
Oh, man. Slowra, but I don't remember a Slowra.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
But,
that was just like my first thought when I looked at it. Yeah.
Is an Indian constellation known as the Blessing Hand. It comes with 4 stars.
Yeah.
And it's called the Blessing Hand. It's called the Hasta Nakshatra. It consists of specifically 5 stars, but there's 4, and then there's like one that
one
like
beam
sticks
that
out.
like kind of like
so
signifies the 5th. Yeah.
So that's the beam, and
That's
I was like, okay, that's pretty
meet.
cool.
Yeah, all of them meet, and then yeah, dude, that's cool. That's cool.
It's associated with like childbirth and establishing family. And the manifest an object of desire within their own hands. So like the line itself of these pages were engraved specifically so I could defeat you kind of like resonate a little more for me.
What does that mean though?
Yeah, exactly. Like I was just like, maybe that's the kind of vibe they were going
for. That was
for.
the one
like,
thing that really threw me about the chapter was like only how many spells he was whipping out having just gotten a new grimoire, but the fact that he said that.
I want to say that he said
Continue
this.
Continue with your point.
No. I want to say that he said the pages were engraved specifically so I could defeat you. I want to say that that's just him talking shit to Zeno. Like, I'm going to beat you. I got a new grimoire. I have, like, new realization inside of myself and my power set. Boom. I engraved, like, these spells were engraved just so I could whoop your ass. Like, I want to assume that that's just...
You were talking shit earlier to me. You said I had to shoot through my allies to kill you.
Yeah, like, I don't want to believe that this is, like, literal dialogue pertaining to, like, our canon understanding of, like, how this situation is going. Because, like, if these pages were actually engraved specifically so that he could defeat Zeno... then, like, that is such an awkward line of dialogue to me. I'm sorry. Like, I don't like that at all. Like, that is so, like baby time shonen manga shit to me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't fucking like that. But I'm giving Tabata the benefit of the doubt, and I think that is just gassed up, feeling himself, talking crazy to Zeno.
Riding high on
either way,
murder and magic.
This just feels like a new level of, like, character being overly proficient with something he just now got.
Sure.
You know, like he's just whipping out all these spells like he knows how, I don't know.
Yeah. Oh no, you want to know what? Okay, so you said the 5 thing, and then we were like, okay, there's 4 points of stars and then 1 in the middle where it meets to shoot the 5th beam. But like only 4 are like kind of like coming together in the star magic panel at the bottom right of that spread on 10 and 11. So I don't know. Maybe the beam does still just represent the 5th.
Yeah.
I just wanted to throw that.
It's hard to say because like maybe is the 5th star. I don't know.
Ooh. Hold on. Okay.
Like I know that Scutum was like I thought for a second it's like Star Magic Quartile Scutum, and I was like, is that a response to him? So I looked it up. It is it's a constellation. It uses about 7 stars, and it literally translates to shield. So like that makes sense.
Well, there you go.
Straight up, very very straightforward. But I was like, all right, cool. New magic. Gotta look it up every now and again, just see what's going on. Especially since they borrow from like so many different languages all at once.
You wonder what the correlation is with the conjunction constellation.
I don't know, to be honest.
Conjunction. Isn't it
like
just
when he
like
says star magic conjunction? So like I just
so it's
thought
just a combination
like,
of things before he shoots you, which is clearly what's shown. Oh wait, no.
Because he says he teleports using the stars. So I thought conjunction was just tying, because conjunction is like moving in tandem. So like using 2 points in tandem would be the conjunction. I thought that was his teleport, to be honest.
That actually makes sense, because star conjunction, apparently, according to Google, says conjunctions involve either 2 objects in the solar system or 1 object in the solar system and a more distant object, such as a star. A conjunction is an apparent phenomenon caused by the observer's perspective. The 2 objects involved are not actually close to one another in space. So like
the Big Dipper.
Yeah, so like just based on that, like that already gives like enough context into the movement ability that this conjunction obviously grants it. That's cool. Cool. That's tight.
I don't know. I just feel like I like that he's doubling down on like the crown for his magic, and like compared to the horns, there is like an alternate form of a crown, which I referenced like a couple episodes back. It's like, hey man, his new demon form looks like he has a crown.
For sure.
So like this is for the fight of the kingdom. Both of them don't want to be wrong. They're like, I'll prove my choices that I've made weren't wrong. And that's when he gets pissed off, and he's just like, hey, you think that I didn't feel like I was wrong? You know, that kind of thing. It's like they both feel vindicated in the sacrifices that they've made, regardless, to get to the point where they are. It really just feels like a big old clash of personalities backed up by a power flinging genre.
Power flinging is like a great way to describe.
Yeah,
Black Clover.
It reminds me of like late stage Naruto a little bit, where it's just like, because like I fell in love with Naruto when it was like doing like the Zabuza Haku arc, where they're actually trying to like outsmart each other.
Land of Waves was like the first, like that arc was when I was like, holy shit, this is something so special.
And then it became who could throw the biggest jutsu after a while, which kind of lost me. Black Clover seems to kind of follow in that trajectory, but it's easier for them to slip that slippery slope of a power manga because they've, I feel like, almost actively avoided like nailing down their power system a little bit. Because like
Sure.
we've been how many chapters now, and 309, we're just like, how exactly does this work?
Right.
And we just have to accept it at face value or inference.
Yeah, and even if like there is like subtle details that you can rack up, you know, throughout the series to like go towards whatever it is that we're complaining about right now, I feel like power systems in shonen manga, especially in like contemporary shonen, do a really good job of rehashing details that are important and relevant in any kind of situation to make sure that you understand exactly why the phenomena are behaving the way that they are, not just because you need to understand it in the moment that they're being used, but also so that you can make inferences in future clashes and confrontations based on the history of that energy system being used. You know what I mean? Like there's massive examples inside of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Hunter x Hunter, like Jujutsu Kaisen, you know what I mean? Like, and even in the side of the softer power systems, you know, like you'll see a little bit more consistency, and maybe consistency isn't the right word, but like there's just a little bit more of the mangaka making sure that you get it. Whereas in Black Clover, like, it's like this might have been an established thing before, but you have to go back to like chapter 102 to see the reference for it, and even though it's relevant now in chapter like 299, you know what I mean? So like there's a lot of like back tracing that you have to, at least that I feel like you have to do inside of Black Clover to make sense of like, or at least to try to reach to make sense.
That's a lot of
like
why
things are happening. Yeah, you know what I mean? But like
in other legwork to do.
In other series, they really like do a lot more to make sure you understand like how this works and why. You know what I mean? So
I feel like say a series like Law of Ueki, right?
Yeah.
Where the kid can turn trash into trees or something like that, and it's very simple, like a very straightforward power series, but they still like have an established like progression, and they have a lot of like I don't know, like visual and verbal tags that our brains can latch onto to be like, okay, this is what's happening. This, I feel like Black Clover veers off more into the was it Soso no Frieren?
Haven't done
style
that one
of
yet.
magic.
I know that our homeboy Yato is like, and even Axel Ablaze is like super into that series.
It's a really good series. I love it. It's more of a slice of life thing.
Okay.
With like less a focus on the magic, but more of the slice of life. But the way they approach magic is they just sort of say, hey, this is the kind of spell I'm doing. These are the words I'm doing. And they kind of keep it within that framing. So like it's a very fast and loose power system. And they admit that.
Yeah.
They're just like, hey, you know, here's a magic of how to scratch your back that you just can't get, you know, that kind
regardless of what, you know, area of storytelling that your story is particularly leaning into. Like if Frieren is like a little bit more slice of life leaning, but has that supernatural element to it, it all comes down to your execution. You know what I mean? Because like if you look at a story like Witch Hat Atelier, you know what I mean? Like that's not an action heavy series, but the magic system is so profound and so like well established and explained.
They follow a lot of rules.
They follow a ton of rules, and those rules are laid out to you like very drastically, like in the beginning, even though it's not like an action series like that.
It's like the theme of the series, really. Yeah, magic has a lot of rules.
Exactly, and you have to follow them to a T, or else your shit is going to come out weird. You know what I mean? And even though like they focus the magic application in Atelier in a very mundane way. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of mundanity in Witch Hat Atelier when it comes to, you know, magic application, very diametrically opposing to, you know, the formula that Black Clover seems to follow, where it's like you are in a, you know, physical like fight kind of situation, and new concepts are introduced, and then they find ways to tie it back to like previous explanations in some kind of other way, but it just feels like there's just less depth in situations where it requires more, whereas Witch Hat Atelier is like the opposite situation, where it's like this isn't a life or like, I mean, it's pretty life or death a lot in Witch Hat Atelier, but like, you know, but it's not as high octane. It's not as, you know, like crazy, but they still make sure that you understand the power system entirely in every single area of it at any point in time, whether they're fighting someone or they're cooking dinner. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's just shit like that. And I know that I shouldn't be like constantly trying to compare Black Clover to other Magic series, but it's hard not to when you have things like Magi.
When it's your core premise.
When you have Magi and like Doro Hidoro and like Witch Hat Atelier that do Magic so well, you know what I mean? And then like Black Clover is just like
Magic,
shoot first, ask questions later kind of approach to it. And it's like, I don't know.
I
not
do
for me
agree
personally.
that I would have loved to see a little bit of like fumbling. Not like, oh, hey, I want them to lose. I want them to fumble a little bit, like learning how to use the magic. If they had spent most of their time of this fight just like learning how to use conjunction and like quickly using conjunction to dodge things and then relying a little bit on wind magic to supplement and then like doing Skatoom and then the next chapter doing the Hasta quadrille to like figure out how star magic works, I would have been sold.
Honestly,
really
if there was anything in this chapter of like, okay, I got a brand new grimoire, I don't really know how these spells work yet, like let's just try to use some and see how effective they are, and him taking damage as he's trying to figure out how this constellation shit, how this quartile shit, how this star magic shit in general works, because he literally just got it, like that would add so much to the compelling nature
I just
that
feel like it was
Tabata is
rushed.
trying to, you know, kind of like present in this clash. You know what I mean? I'm tired of it feeling like in Black Clover that it's just like, I don't have what it takes to get through the situation. Now I do. And antagonist is like, holy shit, I thought I had control of the situation. Now they got some new shit. All right, I got some new shit now. Let's hit you with this new shit. And you're like, oh, I don't know how to deal with that. Oh, here's my new shit. And it like, it just feels like a back and forth of like power-ups and new techniques that you're not ready for. And then just reciprocation back and forth in that way. You know what I mean? And I just don't like the escalation when it's presented that way. You know what I mean? Like it feels very, it
Linear?
feels linear, sure, you know what I mean, but it just also just feels like so expected. You know what I mean? Even if we didn't know that it was star magic, even if we didn't know that Dante was going to gain his new powers the way that he did, we still knew that Yuno was going to get new power and Dante was going to get new power. And even if we didn't know Dante was going to get new power, we certainly knew Yuno was. And it's like, I don't like being able to know that kind of thing. That can just come out of nowhere at any time. Maybe not nowhere, because it's obviously tied back to like earlier storytelling, but like still, as far as the expectations for both characters involved in the clash, it's just like new power up. Wasn't expecting that. New power up. Wasn't expecting that. And just back and forth until one of them gets hit with an attack that's just bigger than they can handle, and then it's over. You know what I mean? Like that is just
it's like the satellite thing in Dr. Stone. None of us expected that. We're like, oh hey, that's actually like a nice like sidestepping of a problem where I was just like, oh, okay, that makes sense. It just feels like I feel like the scaling is more of like a straightforward solution as opposed to
a nuanced fucking power system.
Mercy.
Sorry.
No worries. But like I do like the art. Because I feel like the whole Dante's whole thing is like, hey man, my whole thing is I have regeneration. So I feel like it was just rushed, and if they had taken time to just like test the waters against the regeneration, or like even notice like, hey, if I use like this particular magic, maybe his regeneration is slowing after a certain level of magical output or something like that, then maybe it's like, okay, maybe if I have to do it like this much charge before it like does some lasting damage, and then I can maybe do a bunch of flurry of them or something like that.
Just because you have a new power set that you can tap into doesn't mean you have ultimate confidence in that new power set instantly.
It's like,
and that's kind of like what's being represented in this chapter. It's like, oh, I have star magic, bet 7 spells in a row from the new book right away at like perfect fucking confidence level. And it's like,
it's
really?
It's like, you know, shit, like my buddies play Magic the Gathering, their deck, and I like quick skim through it. I have it. I know more or less what's in it, but that doesn't mean I'm going to be able to play that deck as if I knew exactly how to do it to its maximum efficiency.
But even if this is, you know, like just using like rudimentary understanding of his new power set, the fact that he's this effective against a threat that's been built up to this degree just means that he's even more broken with more training. And I know the story has to go on, but that's just not how you introduce the win in a situation like this. You know what I mean? Like, if he is going to get better with star magic as time goes on, like, you're still giving him all of the capability that he needs to get through this situation at the drop of a hat. Like, Xeno is way too big of a threat for you to gain 11 new spells in the span of like a couple fucking moments and then just like use all of them in tandem perfectly to get through this situation in a way to where you're not even questioning like the new power, you're not even like wondering how it works, you just like have the spells and now you just shoot them to like the proper efficiency level. Yeah, exactly. Like, where is the curiosity? Where is the uncertainty? The uncertainty only comes from just your opponent not knowing that you have new spells that you're about to use and vice versa. That's fucked up. That's boring as shit to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Like, it's I mean, that is one of our, like, I think collectively one of our biggest pet peeves is lack of pacing. But like, the art's pretty solid, and it feels like a short chapter, though. It does feel
18
short,
pages,
and I feel like
but like there is a lot of just raw action happening. So
and
spell
so it's
throwing,
like, you know, it's like that. I would say it's kind of like that Fast and the Furious climax point of the arc, and they're just like, hey, you know, let's go.
Yeah, for sure.
Gotta go fast.
Gotta go faster, 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 Sonic X. I think that's the Sonic X intro. Anyway, I'm good on Black Clover this week. Eagle, I'm sorry. I don't even know if you've like gotten in there at all, really. How do you feel, man? Like, what do you got?
I spoke words.
Yeah, you did. I've just like gone on such a like long diatribe that I feel like no one else has gotten to speak. So, but yeah, I don't know.
That about does it for Black Clover this week.
For sure.
Pretty straightforward chapter, to be honest.
Alrighty, well, with that, I think we can go ahead and get right into chapter 330 of Boku no Hero Academia, Me and Myself. And
fire.
New Order is fucking insane.
It's terrifying.
It's just basically
I can't even believe that Horikoshi would introduce something so like reality breaking into his story.
Yeah, for a power series, that's terrifying.
It just like it makes me think like he's got to have some type of plan in place to balance things out, and like the only I have trust in him that whatever he does will be good, but like the only way I can see is that like she dies without even getting her quirk stolen.
Oh, sure.
Because I can't see things being fair with this fucking quirk on either side of the conflict.
This quirk is busted. It's just like, quirk, colonization.
Dude, straight up. Like, dude, honestly, that's the vibe I get from her.
Hella people made that joke online, and I was just like, I definitely have to make the joke on the show. But yeah, that's definitely like, oh, okay, this is what you thought it was? Well, as soon as I show up, it's something entirely different now, according to my will. And it's just like so funny that people were making the colonizer joke for that, for the American power. Yeah. It's definitely broken, but like this is cool though, because like usually, and this goes back to what I was saying, you know, in the Jujutsu Kaisen segment, whenever an antagonistic force gets buffs and gets like hand wavy power ups and like unknown things about them that make them stronger that are introduced at the last moment, you're like, yeah, that ups the stakes, that adds to the compelling nature of the writing. But then like when you give a protagonist a busted ass power, you have to be careful because that could, you know, take people out of the tension, you know what I mean? And New Order is so powerful and they represented it so well, but it looks like Shigaraki has answers for it, so it's fine, you know what I mean? Like she hits him with the 100 meter, you know, atmosphere erasure, you know what I mean? Like that's crazy, that fucked him up, he wasn't ready for that, you know what I mean? Choked. But he has so many quirks that Star and Stripe is not anticipating, that if the tone shifts, if there's a drastic pivot, you know, in the in favor of Shigaraki, you'll just chalk it up to him having a billion quirks that we just don't know about yet, and he'll use them in a combination of ways that gives him the W. And it's like, okay, well, if an antagonist gets powers up in that, gets progression in that way, it's not as big of a deal because our protagonists have to deal with that. Give more obstacles to the protagonist and everything usually feels fine. But on the reverse, it feels awkward. So you hype up Star and Stripe in this way, and you're like, oh my god, this chick is cold-blooded, like holy shit, how is Shigaraki gonna deal with this? And Shigaraki has had his own arc, My Villain Academia, so he's got that protagonistic, aura about him, so where you kind of root for him half the time, but you want to see Star and Stripe succeed. So I think Horikoshi is playing off of that vibe that he's established in his story to make this exchange very high tension, very high uncertainty, very high I don't know what's going to happen next. And that's really all you need, whether Star and Stripe wins or loses. You just need to not know what's going to come next. And he's, I think, executing that brilliantly inside of her power set and Shigaraki's answer to it. So,
I just thought of something.
Yeah.
What if she uses part of her new order ability to invoke, like her own name and say, "My quirk is unstealable"?
Oh boy.
Like,
because she's always saying, like, I need one for myself to make sure that either I can't die or I can't have my quirk stolen. And she's got to know already that that's what they're after.
Strength. She's got one for strength, and like if she figures out that they're trying to steal it.
No, I don't think there is one for strength. I think that she just made sure that
one of the two is always on myself. I can't quite conjure up super strength, but that's her target. Like, she always has super strength.
Hold on, what page is this? I'm sorry, real quick.
So on page 11, I can only set up new rules for up to 2 targets at once. One is of the two is always myself.
I think that's a mystery still. I think that's purposely a mystery still as to what order she's giving herself, and that she's saying my super strength is not on par with All Might's, but I'm training and working out just so that I can have, capable super strength in any kind of situation, even if it's not on the level of All Might, because I need to save my new world order or my new order targeting on myself for a completely different thing. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
That's kind of how I took it. Yeah.
I feel like that's actually the source of her strength. I just feel like maybe it's a translation thing where it's adding kind of that nebulous kind of quality to it. I definitely feel like she's using her quirk on herself to dope herself, basically, and have super strength.
That makes sense too. I was just throwing out how like I originally interpreted that, because I want to say that the order that she has on herself is going to be a very hype moment at some point in the conflict when maybe Shigaraki gets the upper hand and thinks he has her dead to rights, and she's like, sorry bro, my order on myself is, like Eagle was saying, I can't have my quirk stolen because I already got intel about what your fucking goal was before this confrontation, or some other kind of mysterious application of this ability onto herself. So I thought that her super strength was just like a Batman kind of situation, like maybe not even a latent meta strength, but just like I've reached peak physical capability for a human being on my own to supplement the fact that I don't have power on par with All Might, but like I need to make sure that I keep myself safe with my order. It's like
Endeavor's super strength,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
I need to make sure that I keep myself safe with my quirk while also controlling the battlefield against my enemy in a way that targets them. And then in the middle is me just going hard and training myself as up to the highest physical possibility or physical capability as possible. Is how I kind of took
thought it was because of like conjure seemed like kind of evocative of like I make something out of nothing kind of thing. Right. Like, whereas like I don't know. Muster seems more like about physical exertion, whereas conjure seems to be more of like this is a power, this is a sort of magic.
We've seen reality bending powers like this before in the series, though, because if you remember, like the kid from Shiketsu manga,
yeah,
he literally uses onomatopoeia. Like, and Nick, back when Nick was on the show regularly, was always talking about how he hated that quirk because it was too reality warping and it just didn't fit the concept of like evolutionary like quirk application that we've kind of seen in other characters. It always kind of like fit in the realm of physics to a certain degree, no matter what somebody's quirk was, whether it was a psionic ability inside of Monoma or Shinsu, or whether it was some kind of physical boosting ability, whether it was like, you know, frog or, you know, killer whale or something like that. It always fit in somewhere in the realm of our nature and, like, you know, real world stuff. Even if it was supernatural, there was still a tether back to the real world and physical science in some way. But like manga and Star and Stripe is literally like, I say things and they happen, so it's like a little bit different.
It's a little bit way. Like that devil, like the first major devil from Black Clover, where he could say sword and then swords would just appear.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah,
I can't really remember that arc. I'm trying to forget it, honestly. But yeah.
He had the word magic, the word soul magic. So yeah, he would say like swords, storm of swords, and it would just be like.
No, there was and you know me, I like to read multiple different translations just because. Because I feel like I don't know Japanese. So for me, I'm like, I want to know, I try to absorb as many takes as I can to get like a little more nuance in it.
Right.
Like when they're saying like I remember someone using the fonts differently in Shigaraki. And so like when it was like both he and All For One were talking, All For One would be like more bolded. His bubbles would be bolded, and there was a translator's note saying like Shigaraki, when he talks about Tom, he uses boku, but then when he was using when I am also me, he used the more adult ore.
Oh, sure.
To indicate like two different selves.
Yeah.
And like also with the title of the name and the way it's going, that's definitely like struggling. Like, who am I? Like, when I am a gestalt of memories and powers, who exactly am I?
Yeah.
In any moment, like, what does my consciousness define itself as?
Yeah.
When I am just a storm of souls.
I saw a funny ass tweet on Twitter when someone was like referencing this panel of Tomura going like, I'm Shigaraki Tomura, but I'm also not only Shigaraki Tomura, and that's why your fucking order doesn't work on me. It was like someone quoted that with a panel of like Venom, you know, with Peter Parker like hemmed up as Spider-Man. And he's like, my pronouns are they, them, not because I'm non-binary, but because I'm literally two niggas. And I saw that as like a Dragon Ball meme before too, with like Zamasu or like whatever the fucking character was. I don't really do Dragon Ball Super.
Piccolo or something like that.
Yeah, it works with like Piccolo and Nail and shit. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that shit is just funny as hell. But I just had to throw that out there because that made me laugh this week on Twitter. But
oh man, it's just very strange. Like, this is it's a strange series chapter. I really like it. It's also like a strange introduction of like New World Order.
Right.
It kind of is reflective on like Horikoshi and how he's like portraying different cultures, because like in Japan it's like, oh, we're very clean cut, we're very pro, but then he exposes like the dark side of it. What he views the dark side of his culture is that despite its like rules and like aim to be like correct and like don't kill, there's still like a lot of corruption and a lot of self-serving virtue, so to speak, that's rife within his society. And like those who have power are fine, those who have no power are completely left in the wayside, that kind of thing. And then like his take on like how America works, like New World Order was not chance thing. This is like, okay, like America's a surveillance state. My power is called New World Order, and I have to know your name and get a hold of you to affect you. And then like they were just like, all right, he's a villain, let's kill him. Not like this, like most of the time there's like in My Hero, they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna defeat the bad guy and subdue him and arrest him and send him to Tartarus. They're like, nope, guns on sight, let's shoot laser at him, let's fuck him up, let's kill him. Like,
Yeah,
boom,
I
boom,
was
boom.
like so like holy shit, if Tomura Shigaraki moves at all, his heart will stop. And I'm like, okay, well, like what is the basis for movement? Because it's like breathing is movement. So like does this motherfucker has to hold his breath? Like obviously it's not going to go to that degree, otherwise Shigaraki would just die moments later, you know what I mean? But like I was like, when I turned that page, I was like, holy shit, that is the strongest thing I've ever seen. Like that's like a Hunter x Hunter level like condition. You know what I mean? Like that's like
it's
that's
very
wild.
much a Nen ability.
Yeah.
It feels like a Nen ability.
Yeah.
It straight up feels like a Nen ability, which is what throws me off a lot because I was like,
because
okay,
quirks
you
are
know,
just
I understand.
not on that level normally. You know what I mean?
Tends not to be like even like she
It's usually
seems
just
to be
ability caveat, and then like that's it.
she
Usually.
seems to be like a young woman, but not like a child, right? Because they're talking about like how the fourth generation kids have like insane powers. You know, when they're doing like the daycare second test re-examination arc, they're like, oh yeah, these kids have insane powers, and I'm like, all right, cool, all right, I get it. But like, Star and Stripe probably isn't like a fourth gen kid. She's probably like a second or third gen kid, and that power is bonkers.
Yeah, it's gross. It's very gross.
Like, I can hold lasers. How did you hold it? It's made of light. How can you act like? How can you grab the air or the atmosphere? Right? Like, how do you define touching something? Like, I don't know, man. I do like the kind of play on the stripes in the word bubbles,
the dialogue bubbles,
using her power.
Yeah,
like
hell
I
yeah.
love that.
The
That's
laser
great.
is holdable. You get stripes on that too. It's like I can impose a new rule on this laser if I want to. You know what I mean? Like
because
that's
otherwise
sick.
I'd just be confused.
Yeah.
Like I would straight up be confused if they didn't have that. That's a nice way to have a visual tag to explain how your power is operating.
And when it's activating, when she's, activating it actually.
Oh, sure. I think it's wait.
She also has air quotes.
But I don't think she imposes a rule on the laser after she grabs it. So she definitely like says something with the stripes behind it.
The rule is that it's holdable.
Oh, good shit.
Yeah,
good
and
shit.
she
I'm
yelled,
so dumb.
And at 8, after he does the reflected scatter, you could, if you zoom in, you can say laser. She's calling out the name of the object she's grabbing. So like, I love that. Very small detail, easy to miss.
Where is that?
On page 8.
Page 8. She is riding atop the plane. She's struck by a beam of light, and she just yells laser instead of oof.
On page 9 or 8?
Page 8.
In the bottom panel after he does the
I see it.
It's
yes.
hidden. It's very small.
Yeah.
She sells the laser, and then she does the two-part
laser
activation of her power.
Yes. Okay. There it is.
Ah, man. Also,
Thank you.
What do you guys think about like the level of technology they're bringing out? Like, I kind of like it with superpowers. And like, how does one wage war in a world with superpowers? I like that they have these like
anti-EMP shields, because he loads up radio waves plus air cannon plus heavy payload, and then you get this drastic Kamehameha wave panel on fucking page 4, and she's like, hold on, wait, no, it's before that,
they said all units switch to shock shield mode.
Yeah, there we go. But no, maybe radio.
I saw a translation that said force field.
Is radio waves not like an EMP? Because I remember she was like saying like, yo, he might have an EMP ability in this bitch, so like switch to shock shield mode and disengage autopilot. And then after she says like he's probably gonna hit us with an EMP, he goes into radio waves plus air cannon plus heavy payload. So I just assume
I think that
one
is
of those
how
elements,
he creates EMP.
Yeah, okay.
I think the combination of all three of those things is how he can make a physical wall of EMP.
Yeah, but also just raw power damage at the same time. Like it's an EMP, like
that also affects
passively,
physical.
But it's raw DPS inside of the cone. Yeah.
Dude,
that's insane, crazy. Dude. Shigaraki is
goofy.
broken.
Shigaraki AFO. I wonder if they're gonna have a new name for All for One.
Oh man, like, I can't wait for the name that Horikoshi chooses
new
for
identity? Does he gain a new identity where he's like oh god, what if he names himself the name, like his family name that his grandma had?
Tenko?
What if he names himself like Tenko?
Isn't it Tenko, right? Hold on a second. Yeah, Tenko Shimura.
It's a lot to absorb. Like I wonder what he would value as this new Gestalt self to name himself that.
Or so Tenko is his personal name, and then Shimura is the family name. I'm sure that was obvious, but I just like looked it up and I just thought I'd say it. But yeah, so Tenko would be the name that he abandoned for Shigaraki.
Yeah. It's just a thought because
or wait, no.
They show the house.
Tomura,
right?
Tenko, Tomura is the
No, Shimura is the family name because it's Nana Shimura.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they did like a
so Tenko is being swapped for Shigaraki. Or wait, what the fuck? Oh yeah, I can't remember it right now, but you're totally right, Mello. Anyway, before I sound dumber,
Shigaraki. No, I think Tomura.
I think the Tomura was based off the adulterated Shimura.
Yeah, there we go.
And then,
there we go.
And then Shigaraki was All for One's last name.
Yeah, and then he switched it to like from Tenko to Shigaraki.
Tomura.
Yeah, or whatever. Yeah.
So there's a bunch of theories out there that All for One is Deku's father. And what if he takes Izuku as his new last name?
No.
It's like his name is Star Power.
No.
Star
Yo, oh my god.
That'd be hilarious. That'd be hilarious.
I don't know how I feel.
Izuku Shigaraki.
Chill out. That would be fucking buns. So wait, what's the what's the opposite of Deku? Because I know that Deku is like his name that he like took and made a play on words to like laugh at Bakugo's.
It can't like can't do and can do.
Yeah, or something. Yeah.
So what if he changed his name to Will Do?
Something like that. I don't fucking know, dude. Holy shit, this is an area that I was like not prepared to talk about, and I'm like I don't fucking know.
No, I always felt like All for One was probably the reason why Izuku's father disappeared, as just like a causal effect of his like various criminal organizations, and his dad just ran afoul of them. You know?
Jesus Christ. I don't know.
Because like they're just like, oh yeah, you can breathe fire. That'll be kind of useful. I could give that to a good foot soldier.
Yeah, that's right. His dad can breathe fire. I completely forget about that every time.
So I was like, all right.
And you never see his mom use like her quirk, which is like bringing small objects
low-key
towards
telekinesis.
Her. Yeah, super low key. But yeah, I don't know. That's an insane thought, though. So what do you think this explosion is? This is just decay, maybe?
On what page?
On the last page. Like, obviously, the climactic or the cliffhanger point is, the fact that Star and Stripes' order didn't work because that's not his name, apparently. You know what I mean? Because he's, like, a new...
His identity
he's a brand new bitch, right? Yeah, so, like, then she's like, holy shit, my shit's not working. And then he, like, explodes at the end. And I don't know. What do you guys think? I don't think it's decay because that has to travel along, like... the ground from what we've seen of it, at least. You know what I mean? Like before it was just I have to touch you with all of my fingers, then you rot. But then after his reawakening, you just touch the ground and then it creates like a wave of damage or a wave of decay that goes outward in like a cone, or maybe even 360 degrees. I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure it's 360 degrees. But like still, like this seems to be like in air without like the proper medium that we're used to travel through. You know what I mean? So I don't know exactly what this explosion is, but it could just be other quirks that he has.
Just a series of quirks spiraling out of control.
We're either not accounting for them because they haven't been told to us yet, or maybe it is a combination of quirks that we know that he has access to, and he's just like creating an amalgam of them, or something like that. But I have no idea what this next chapter is going to be, and I'm just as excited for the next one as I was the last one.
His hair is rapidly growing too.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
His eyes are splitting open like
Super Saiyan 3 shit, Dragon Ball shit. Come on, man.
No. Big old Dragon Ball reference. Like his eyes are also freaking out too. So like, I wonder if he's even gonna look human after this. Is he gonna look more like a Nomu? Is he gonna look definitively inhuman? is he gonna have multiple pupils in his eyes? Like, I wonder.
God.
That would be wild.
That'd
I would
be
love
insane
if he
if there
became
was
a little
multiple
more
pupils.
grotesque.
Yeah,
where he had multiple pupils.
I definitely think that Kohei is going to lean more into the body horror element of Shigaraki as his evolution continues, because that just makes so much sense for his art style.
I mean,
But,
look
like,
at
at the
page
same
13. Look at page 13
Yes,
with
exactly,
AFO
exactly.
melting with him, growing at him like some vestigial twin.
Yeah.
It's just like it's layered out right there.
Yeah.
And
I don't know.
I remember someone saying the she fell for it was AFO's voice.
Where is that?
Yeah.
Page 12 and 13.
I see it. Yep.
Like someone
I would
like,
agree.
Oh, yeah, that's probably his voice. Ugh.
There were signs from the
Disgusting.
moment it awakened. You will be mine, little brother. The boundary was always hazy. As originally planned, you were meant to become me entirely after 2 months of recuperation. But what a firecracker you are, implying that he's reaching that level sooner than expected. So that, I guess that totally makes sense. That, All For One saying that. Maybe it's All For One, like, literally telling him how he thinks the fight will go. And saying, if she does this, prepare for this contingency. And then she did, so Shigaraki's like, oh, damn, that motherfucker was right. She fell for it. She fell for the plan that All For One told me. Like, she fell for, the bluff that All For One told me to use or something. I don't fucking know.
I wonder. I think that he's just trying to mock Shigaraki and, like, throw him off kilter and make him lose focus. And I also feel like this was all planned because he knew... All For One knew who Star and Stripe was. He knows that Tomura Shigaraki hates All Might. So, do you think that, like, unadulterated, single-minded hatred might be, be kind of the catalyst to have a singular purpose and help fuse their personalities together by having a single-minded focus? Because Shigaraki is so difficult to work with. He's like, I need you to hate one person specifically, purely in a moment, so that I can, like, slip in and fuse with you.
Oh shit, yeah.
So that's why I feel like he set up the fight between him and Star and Stripe.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know, man. That's insane.
What a chapter.
What a chapter, though. Yeah. I don't have anything else for My
Yeah, I think
Hero,
that's
but like
about all I have for
that's
My
a
Hero
lot
as
to
well.
think about. Yeah.
Just a brief shout out to some of the members on our Discord. They were saying that Star and Stripe, the little girl that was saved, is a member in a movie, one of the My Hero movies.
Oh my god.
It is now, I think it's called Two Heroes.
I don't know. I haven't seen any of the movies.
I've
but
never
that's
watched
a cool
it,
shout
so
out.
I'll have to check it out. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Cool spot.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Well, I think that about does it. So, thank you all for watching if you did. Be sure to slap a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Be sure to sub to the channel for more fire weekly reviews on the Jump chapters. And as we said before, be sure to check that description box down below where you can find links to any and all of our individual social media accounts such as Twitter, online communities such as Discord, audio listening platforms, whichever you prefer to listen to podcasts on, as well as ways to support the podcast via our Patreon or our online shop. And with all that said, this will be another stupendous episode of the Project Manga Podcast wrapping up. I'm your host, Eagle.
Knox.
Mellow Yanis.
Sarabada.